Welcome to the Windsurfing podcast. Yes, so we are back and we are live this week. And we have, as you can see, a special guest for anyone who is into YouTube. Whereas if you tuned into this on YouTube, you probably will be into YouTube. This is Mr. Paul Van Bellen. How you doing, mate?
You know, Benny, it's actually surreal sitting here because I've watched a lot of your podcasts and I feel like I'm still watching one, but I'm in it. It's just...
I tell you what, and for anyone who's listening audio only, you won't be able to see his absolute epic editing setup. Now,
Yeah.
like I said, Paul's obviously a YouTuber, drone guy, does a lot of editing, as you can see. That is spaceship-like.
Yeah, well, that actually isn't a spaceship, so...
Okay, so just for anyone who's not tuned into these podcasts before, obviously Matt Check does the ones which are, I'm not saying more serious, but they're sort of already organized. He has lots of questions. I'm a bit more like freestyling, so I've been chatting with Paul quite a bit anyway, and I was saying, why don't we get you on the podcast? You know, people can ask questions. So for you guys who are watching on YouTube or Facebook, feel free to ask. I want to say anything because we'll have to see what he's going to answer. But I would say specialist subjects would be drone flying. Yeah.
Sure.
Crazy YouTube editing. Because if you've seen any of his videos, they are 80s music and 70s music, I would say, is quite key. 90s as well. What else? What else you want to answer questions on?
I was actually going to say, am I the first sort of YouTuber guy that you've had on for windsurfing?
You actually might well be. I've been speaking to Nico, but he's quite aloof. He wants everything perfect. As if you've seen his YouTube channel, you'll know it's a bit different to mine. And he's like, no, I want to do it in a studio. I want these. I want this. I'm like, oh my god. So we will be getting Nico Breen on it. But Mr. Van Bellen, you are the first. I think you're the first.
Yeah, well, that's an honor. But I kind of wanted to say that I think that, well, you should try and get more of them on. Like, there's quite a few YouTube channels, isn't there? I mean, Nico Preen is like the biggest, I guess. And then there's quite a few others. There's a few German guys.
Yeah.
And
I was just thinking, like, but you say there's quite a few. I'll be honest, I'm slightly disappointed there isn't more. I feel
true.
I feel like I'm like a windsurfing consumer of content. I like watching stuff. Like, as soon as you drop a video, I'm there. I'm watching it. You know what I mean? And if some of them are funny as hell. I personally thought the shark jaws one was pretty good. The winging.
Oh, you know the funny thing about that? Have you been seeing the wing foiling comp at Cabo Verde in the last few days?
I actually saw on one of your little your messages.
Yeah, but did you watch the event at all? Like, did you watch the live stream? No. Oh, because what was funny was I've never seen an actual event before, but when they were stacking heaps, and when they stack, the foil just comes tumbling through the whitewater into the beach. And I was thinking, if you were swimming in front of it, it'd be gnarly. You just completely get worked by this foil in the head. It's pretty sketch. All right.
Well, you know, if anyone tuned in and watched the PWA, you watched the PWA in Cape Verde, the live stream stuff.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Those guys are literally aerialing over rocks, and you're thinking, if you're on a foil, there's no way you're competing in that close, but they are, aren't they? I saw a few little clips.
Especially when it's small, isn't it? It's literally breaking on rocks. Yeah, it's pretty. It looks tricky for sure.
I've got to ask you,
a bigger step.
Are you a fan of winging? There's quite a few guys watching this channel who are definitely getting into their winging. I know. I think you're probably on the other side of that.
Well, look, I just want to say, if anyone's ever seen my channel or my videos, I do take the piss out of a few different wind sports. I also take the piss out of windsurfing too, to be fair. I make fun of it all. So it's kind of, I'm not necessarily picking on any particular wind sport, but with winging, I just think all the sports basically have their place in certain conditions. But for me, windsurfing is the most fun in the widest range of conditions, but I can see in certain conditions where winging would be cool, and for that matter, kite surfing as well. But I don't know. Like, it's, you know what it's like when you get into spots. Sometimes there's a bit of a hassle with wingers or kiters and windsurfers, and they're mingling. And I just like to sort of play up to it a bit, just because it's like, it's sort of the banter you have on the beach, and I try to just have a bit of fun with it in the videos. It's just, I don't know. I think if you're a windsurfer, we've all had that kind of, oh, bloody winger or kiter, or, you know, that kind of thing. It's pretty harmless, but it's just something that's kind of a bit of a sort of funny rivalry thing. Yeah, I don't know.
So do they go through me? Like, I know your videos. I've watched pretty much. I've probably watched all of them. But give me your top 5 favorite piss taking videos, because there's some good ones. I mean, for me personally, I'll let you know mine. The Point Break one, obviously, this is a classic. If no one's actually, I should probably try and share that screen. Let me just. For anyone who's watching on YouTube, just bear with me. But like, you go through some that you've done, and I'm just going to pull up your YouTube channel on here.
Yeah, because it's when you ask me that question, I'm like, I have to remember all the videos. I just can't. Yeah. I can remember a few top of my head.
So like Point Break, it's got like nearly 70,000 views, and it's basically the classic. I'll pull it up just again for people who watch on YouTube can have a little bit.
Oh, that's not the video. Oh, that's not me.
I mean, it is a class. For the people who are listening, audio only, it's basically the final scene from Point Break in a foreign language. So it won't make sense if you speak whatever language it's in. I can't remember what language it's in.
Was it Italian? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're Italian, it makes no sense. Anyway, but like I said, I definitely advise.
Yeah,
sorry, I would say, listen, watch that. It's basically the end scene from Point Break in Italian, but then it's got subtitles, which Paul came up with, and they are absolutely classics. Honestly, it is pretty funny. I mean, there's been a few done, hasn't there? There's been the Hitler one. Have you seen the surfing one with Hitler? I think that's
yeah, sure.
Funny.
I haven't done. No, I haven't done one for Hitler. No.
Okay.
I did think about it, but there's already one done, and I just sort of left it at that. But yeah, that I guess that's pretty. That's up there. Like, that one is. The thing is, whenever I see these videos, it brings me back. I just remember making them. That's the part that gets me. I remember sitting at my desk. Like, oh, by the way, this is a good little segue. There's just shout outs to my mates out there. I can see on the side there's comments coming in. There's Tim, Ross, Torkel, and I know Sam's watching, I'm pretty sure. But all the guys over in Juroa, I made that when I was on the East Coast, and I made quite a few videos there. And yeah, it was just, we'd have a lot of funny banter. And like, if you have some friends or you have funny banter, you know, you sort of get in that comedy zone in your head, and then you just start thinking of funny ideas. I don't know where that came. It just popped out of nowhere. But that video probably took me about 2 hours to make, because, you know, you've got to, like, when you make a video like that, you're obviously thinking, all right, this is the scene I want to use. What would they be saying if they were, you know, trying to be funny as well without being too cheesy?
Is that how long it took you? 2 hours. See, I'm terrible at writing, coming up with stuff. That would take me ages. I think that's impressive. 2 hours.
Well, I mean, yeah. When I say 2 hours, that's including the editing part. Like, the actual writing part might have taken 5 minutes or like whatever, like 5-10 minutes. Because, you know, sometimes you get in a funny mood. Like, I don't know. This is the thing with comedy stuff too. Like, sometimes you just get in a funny mood, and sometimes you're not, you know. But when you're in that funny mood, you just sort of run with it and just try to, like, you know, do something with it. But, you know, the editing part, you have to put the text on, and I'm not the fastest editor in the world, but yeah, that one, it's funny how, like, you would know this because obviously you do a lot of YouTube videos, but isn't it funny how some videos just get traction and end up with 100,000 views, and then the other one that you think is good too ends up with 2,000 views, and you're like, what's going on there? Like, they're both, I kind of like them both, but, you know, one's just sort of run. That was one that kind of, you know, ran. And also you share stuff as well, which is, you know, whenever you share something, my views bump up heaps. So
Yeah, I think you nailed it before when you said that, because that is my YouTube experience. There'll be some videos that I've put a lot of effort into. There's a lot of work. Sometimes you don't see it from the outside going in, but there's a lot of background stuff, and then it just doesn't go down that well. And then other videos which literally I slap together in feels like minutes, because I'm just trying to come up with something, and then it just catches the right, it sparks off something in some people and they love it, and it runs and it's getting so many views. And you're thinking, blooming heck.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about YouTube for a bit, because it is interesting, because YouTube's getting a lot of media right now. It's like, oh, YouTubers making a fortune. Oh, YouTubers making a fortune. The reality of it is YouTubers don't make a fortune. The top YouTubers make a fortune, because to get anywhere near, I mean, what I should do is share how much I get in terms of advertising for some of the videos. You're getting between $5 and $30 for a video that takes a lot of work. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, you do get more than that, but it's for me, it's very rare. And if you have a track which obviously isn't yours, so you have a lot of music on yours, as soon as you have a track that someone claims, even if it's only on for 10 seconds, you literally lose all the money that you would get from advertising, which could sometimes only be $50 or $10 or $20, but you don't even get that. And you think, I've made this video 20 minutes. I've put like 20 seconds or 10 seconds of this jingle in, and then they take all the ad revenue. What's your experience with ad revenue on your channel?
Yeah, well, for full disclosure, last month I made $53, which was I think that was a good month. I'm trying to think of it as Australian dollars or US dollars, actually. I've got a feeling it's Australian dollars. So I sort of average about that a month, but I would probably be making like $200 a month if most of my videos didn't have, as you said, copyright songs on it. So basically what happens is, like, I put a video out, and I don't have this channel to necessarily, like, I didn't do it as a money maker. It was purely just a passion project. I just was like, I'm just that into windsurfing, and I kind of like doing creative things. So I like listening to music sometimes. So basically I thought, oh, well, I'll just put some songs on. And also, like, I'd listen to windsurf. Like, if I watched videos, there were often like music that I was like, oh, but I like that music, I want to put that on. And so I started doing that. But yeah, basically, if you watch a video that has a song that is well known, or, just about every song that's out there, the content creator is essentially giving away the rights to make money on the video. So heaps of my videos, I make $0, and all the money goes back to the copyright holder. So like a classic example was one of my first windsurf videos I made was in Juroa, and it was just called The Best of Juroa. And I was rushing out the door because I was living in Sydney, and I was driving down to Sydney, and I was living in an apartment, and in the foyer, the neighbors will leave just bits of, like, things that they're giving away. And there was a CD that someone was giving away. And I thought, oh, well, I'll grab the CD and listen to it in the car. Like, it was just like the hits of the 80s CD or something like that.
Yeah.
And I listened to this one song. I never heard it. I was like, oh, it's kind of a catchy, it's like a poppy sort of catchy song, but I don't know, it sort of stuck with me. And then I used it on the Best of Windsurfing Juroa video. But that video actually sort of blew up a bit. Like, it got up to
250,000 views.
Yeah. But that video is 6-7 years old or whatever it is. But when it first came out, it's got up to 100,000 views pretty quickly. And then the copyright holder, like the band is like this small-time Dutch band that had a one-hit wonder in the 80s. And the copyright holder is Sony. And when that got to about 100,000 views, they pulled the song off the video, because if you actually go to that band's YouTube channel and you go to that actual song, they've got less views on their actual song than the actual windsurfing video with the song on it. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So basically the video ended up with more views than the band's actual official song. And that song had been out on YouTube for 15 years or something already. So I think they kind of decided to pull it. But then I had one of the subscribers was like, "What happened to the song?" I'm like, "Yeah, the Sony have pulled it." And then they basically, someone has contacted the band in Holland or something like that. And then the singer was aware of what happened and said, "Yeah, look, I know, I don't want it to be pulled, but I don't have any control. It's the copyright, like Sony controls it." Okay. So I basically just had a small insight into how that all works. It's like, once you sign your rights away to a record company or whatever, they basically don't have a lot of control at that point. And every now and then, I think if you watch that video now, I'm pretty sure the music's not on there. It came back for a while and now it's off again. So anyway, that's the only video. Yeah.
Let's have a look. We've still got ads on it, so someone's getting the money.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that's true too. I don't know why there's ads on it because, yeah.
No music.
Yeah. But you see, I don't mind either. Like, I don't really care. Like, a lot of the time people don't necessarily want music on videos either. They're just like, I just want natural sounds, or they can, if they want to play their own song over the top or whatever they want, whatever.
I'd agree with that. Like I've been noticing like more and more comments, and I started experimenting with putting raw footage on just with background and whatever. And I get the feeling the guys that are watching on YouTube, they don't want, well, I don't want to say fancy editing, but choppy editing. Like they don't want an action video where the action's cut too quickly. They want to see the whole wave. They almost want to learn. When you're watching YouTube, you want to feel like you're there and you see everything that's happening, rather than someone chopping up the editing too crazily, and cutting before the end of the wave. They're the comments I've been reading, and it's quite interesting actually. And the longer form videos seem to do better in my experience with a YouTube type audience. Obviously it's different, I guess. I'm not a TikTok person, but TikTok, Instagram and that type of stuff I think maybe is a little bit different, but especially YouTube. I mean, we got to talk about your drone flying, because obviously that's where it all came from. Like that's where you've kind of got your name. It's where I knew you from. Is it what's that other video? The Pim what's it called? Your highest viewed video.
Oh, Primby.
Yeah, Preemie. What's it called? What's the name of the
It's Primby. Like PRIMBEE. Yeah.
Like that's your biggest viewed video, which is like 650,000 or something views, which is solid.
It's actually 724,361.
Okay.
So no, I was joking. I got no idea. But I think it is actually over 700,000 now. So, but yeah, it's that one was a funny one too, because I'm just mainly interested in wave sailing because that's what I do. But the flat water stuff, I think, almost gets like the most views because most people windsurfing are doing flat water stuff basically. But that one.
Your background's in wave sailing.
Background. I mean, obviously I started like everyone else. Like I started on a lake, and shout outs to my dad as well. I have to say thanks to Dad for teaching me windsurfing, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. But yeah, we lived in Sydney, and I got taught on Narrabeen Lake. It was like a popular lake in Sydney to learn. And I remember watching Dad. Like my first memory of windsurfing would have been the early 80s. Like I was born in 1977. It was like, I don't know, it was probably like 1984 or something like that. It was just like when windsurfing in the golden time. And I remember going down to this place called Manly, which is this like pretty well-known beachside suburb in Sydney where the ferries go from. And there would have been like 200, 300 windsurfers, like on one designs. They were having a windsurf one design race because, back then most people just had that type of windsurfer. And I remember Dad going in it, and like it was just like now you'd go down there, you wouldn't see any, you might see one or two people on the harbour here and there, but I just have this vivid memory of just hundreds of them, just like it was super cool. Hundreds of people on the beach, all the color, it was super cool. And then, then I got taught on Narrabeen Lake. And then, when I was being taught. Like, you know, again, there's probably on a good day, you have 50, 100 people on there, you know, then obviously it sort of started tapering off as the years went on. But to cut a very long story short, you know, it just went from there. Then I moved to WA when I was 21 or something like that. Then it was the first time I went into the ocean. I got a job at a windsurf shop. And then was the first time I went in the ocean there, and then sort of cut my teeth at Dutch Inn. Like, you say Dutch Inn?
Yeah.
Perth? Yeah. So that was kind of just the spot that I'd go to. And I'd sail with Tim and Ross. They're listening. I'm pretty sure I can see them commenting. So g'day, guys. But I'd sail with those guys there, and and then just sort of build up my confidence. I was a bit of a slow kind of learner. You know, some guys will just get into the waves or ocean and like they're, you know, just going crazy in a relatively short space of time. That wasn't me. Like all my skills were built up over, like, it was pretty slow going. Like I had to. But I sort of got, you know, more and more confident, and now I just basically just have wave gear. I don't have slalom gear. I don't have any of that, just because I already have 3 wave boards, you know, 5 sails, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And in Australia, especially over here, I'm in Geraldton at the moment. You know, you're pretty spoilt for conditions. So, yeah,
Geraldton is a top spot, isn't it? I've got to be honest. It's one of my favourite windsurfing destinations for actual windsurfing, like fun sailing.
Yeah, no, look, it's awesome. It sort of always surprises me when I'm here how few people are actually windsurfing here, really, because it's like it's one of the best places in the world. It's not Cabo Verde. It's not like epic down the line, but it's got a lot of variety and consistency of conditions. You know, like in summertime you can sail heaps, and winter you can sail all year round. It's a bit less in winter time, but it's no, it's great. Yeah, I know how much you like Geraldton.
I'm going to say, like, I know this definition has been gone down a lot, but it's like, for me, it is like a skate park, especially, you know, Coronation Beach. If that was in Europe, it would be absolutely crawling, like you say. Like, and it's not like where everyone sails at the moment, which is you come down to the car park, everyone sails pretty much straight there. Left, right, upwind, downwind. There is so much room, really. Like, and I always hear that. It always makes me laugh. And this is a shout out to the Aussies. When you get down there, like, oh, bloody crowded, bloody Euros, and you're thinking there is so much water, and I like sailing with people. I always get the impression Aussies always like to sail on their own. I don't know. That's maybe I'm just going to get some hate mail now, but that's just kind of how I am. I like to feel that there's a scene. You know, I don't really like sailing on my own. It's not as I'd much rather share a session.
Yeah, I think in Australia that comes from, like, we're pretty spoiled with space, and so we're all kind of out there trying to find our own little like our own wave and our own spot. Like, you know, like Australians are kind of like they want to get away from everyone. Like, it's like you can just drive, you know, 100 Ks up the road and be in the middle of nowhere. So when you're at a spot where there's 20, 30 people, it almost seems crowded because you can go places where you're literally by yourself. Like, it's, and there's a bit of I don't think it's that serious, but there's also that vibe of that kind of sort of mild form of localism as well, where it's like, oh, there's people coming to the spot. Yeah, that kind of thing as well, which is basically, it's like coming from surfing. Yeah.
I 100% think it is. Like, and I also think it's relative as well, because if you go to Hookkeeper, it's rammed, and then you go to like Australia, let's say, and even if they think it's rammed, it's so less rammed than somewhere like Hookkeeper or somewhere. It feels empty to me. So it's just like a different perspective or different.
Yeah. No, but I'm with you though. I actually enjoy sailing with other people. Like that's the other thing. Like what I find interesting windsurfing is, like, you go out windsurfing and people are kind of in their own zone, aren't they? They're in their own head. They're like, they're there doing their thing. Whereas when I sail, I like to try to interact with people, like, you know, throw a wave or like shout out or just like, you know, just like, you know, whatever. Like it's just like you're out, because the thing is, you're out there by yourself. You can hardly talk to anyone because it's windy and everything. So when you go past someone, I like just to, like, you know, because you're all out there having a good time, basically. Yeah. Like you're trying to create 100%. A bit of a vibe. Like when I sail with my mates, I love it because we're always doing that. You know, you sail past and just having a bit of a chin wag and having a bit of a laugh and whatever. You know, it's cool. Like I'd like to see more of it, to be honest. Like, I mean, people are pretty good with that, but you know what I mean? Like some people will just sail past you and you wave and they're just like so focused on what they're doing. It's like, loosen up a bit. Well, what are we doing out here? We're out here having fun, aren't we?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, and it is like, just because you've sailed out to sea doesn't mean that you need to catch the first wave straight back in. You know, you can let one or two go for other people and then get one. It's not like you need to have every wave, you know, like when you, well, I don't know, I find it quite interesting.
Well, it depends how good the wave is though, Benny, right?
Well, you're right there. I mean, it is. Yes, you are definitely correct. And again, it depends on your skill level as well. You know, I'm quite good at putting myself in a good position to get a wave, so maybe I'm a bit spoiled in that sense.
But you're right. No, but it's true. It's true. You have to give and take for sure.
Yeah. So just going back, so you born in 1977, which is pretty much my age group. So you will have grown up in the same, you know, seeing the same things, I guess, going through. What's been your best years for windsurfing?
The last 5-6 years. Last 6 years for sure.
Really?
Oh, I mean, well, look, there's three main periods. There's the period where you learn. I mean, when you learn, it's cool, isn't it? Because you have these massive milestones. You know, you get in a harness, you do your first jibe, and like that's just where you get hooked, basically. So I do have a long time ago. That's 30 years ago. Or like that's shit. How old is that? 30, 15. Yeah, it's 30 years. Oh, there's Dunk getting almost worked on the rocks. That was a good one. And then going to Perth, you know, getting in the ocean was cool because obviously I was like, oh, cool, now I can sail in the ocean. But the last 6 years have been probably ultra special because of just the you know, like I was down at Giroa. I don't know if some of the people who have subscribed to my channel, they would have seen I did quite a few videos down there and I met quite a lot of windsurfers because that was the other thing too. Before, I didn't really know many windsurfers. You know, when I was learning in Narrabeen, I was a kid. Wasn't, you know, most people are adults. So I wasn't really, you know, I wasn't mingling with them too much. And then Perth, I met a couple of mates, but I didn't know heaps. But like in the last 6 years, I met so many more windsurfers, which has made it really interesting. And also just like sharing some really good times in Giroa because have you ever been there before, Ben? Or?
I've never been, and I'd never even really heard of it until I actually watched your videos. And then I kind of got excited about it. I was like, this place looks sick. But then the more I spoke to people, the more they were like, well, it's not like that all the time, Ben. It's
that's right.
You know, it's fully forecast driven and it's not like there's a massive season where it's working all the time. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's basically, it's a crappy place if you want to go there for a windsurf holiday because you could easily go for 2 weeks and get skunked. It's like, but there was a period there from about 6 years ago up until probably 2 years ago where like you could sail there, you know, maybe once or twice a week. And sometimes you'd go through weeks where you get pretty good swells and it just, became like pretty consistent to a point. But the last couple of years have been pretty crap because we've had this, is it El Nino or El Nino? I can't remember which one are we in? I can't remember.
La Nina or El Nino.
La Nina, yeah. Whatever it was, and that basically just mucked up the weather patterns, and it was just lots of rain, and it just killed the wind and everything. But it was just a super cool time. And Giroa, when it's working, it's just really fun. It's not. I mean, it can actually get kind of heavy because it's a sort of a dumpy shore. Like it you know, it does sort of pitch, you know, when it gets bigger and stuff, but. It's generally, you know, on a good day, it's sort of shoulder high and but it's just perfect cross off. And there's a nice blue water and you're out there with your mates and it's just fun. Like it's that float and ride kind of conditions, which I love. And we had some good times out there, you know, it was cool.
There's some good local sailors as well, isn't there? You know what I mean? That's what I like about your videos. And it's what I like about a lot of people's videos that, I cover the pros and I go a lot of the places because I'm in Europe that there is a lot of pro riders. But in Oz, there's some underground local rippers. And I get a lot of pleasure watching those guys sending it. Like that's, I don't know, I find that really,
No, I totally agree. Like, it's surprising. I've been traveling around Australia, and I mean, there's not thousands of wave sailors out there. I mean, it's obviously hard to see them or meet them often, but whenever I've gone to certain spots, I've actually been surprised at some of the sailors that you see there. Like in Giroa, there's a few guys there. I mean, like Brett Goodwin. Have you ever heard of Brett Goodwin before?
No, not necessarily. I maybe know it.
Yeah.
Like I'm much better if I've met them. I recognize faces. Names I'm not so good with. But.
Yeah. I don't know his history super well, but I'm pretty sure he was like a semi-pro kind of pro windsurfer that lived in Maori for quite a while in possibly the 80s or early 90s or something like that. Like he's about 50, 51, but he basically is just a sick wave sailor. Like he's a sort of sailor that you go, like he's done a lot of the videos that I have. He's got his Severn. I mean, a lot of the guys have Severn sails, but he's one of the guys with the Severn sails, and he just he hardly ever falls in. Like there's these sailors out there that they hit critical sections, they do aerials and stuff, but you never see him in the water. Like he just never falls. Like he just never falls. It's crazy. And but his timing is really good. He's just got a good style. He's sick. Michael George Westra, he's super good sailor. Dougs is another bloke. We call him Dougs. There's heaps of guys. Sam Dillon, Forrest Ladkin, Duncan. There's a whole bunch of there's heaps of guys over east that are really, really good. Like Brett Goodwin is just I would love to see him come over west and like do a comp, because I reckon he could surprise a few guys. Like he's really good. But I don't know. There's lots of people out there that sail, but they just they don't do social media. They don't make videos. They just rig up, shred, come in and pack up and go home to the missus, and that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like they don't. Yeah. Like it's just, that's it kind of thing.
Yeah. I think they're the videos I really like watching. And I think you personally have done well, again, whether they want to be on the videos or not, but like without your videos of Giroa and stuff, you wouldn't have even seen these guys ripping, like like literally it's that kind of thing. And there probably is other places. Margaret River's a good one, like Ricky Vandertoon and all these local boys. Well, he's not local, obviously, but he's living down there now. But they just charge. They hit late. They're not made, like you say, they're not making their own videos and not trying to promote themselves. They just do it because they enjoy it, and which is kind of I like that stuff. I want to see more of that stuff.
Oh, Ricky Vandertoon. I mean, because I've been making most of early on the videos over east, so it was more those guys. But then you come over west, especially down Margie's, guys like Ricky Vandertoon, he completely shreds that guy. Like, he's so good. Yeah. But talking about people who shred it. Yeah, go on.
Oh. No, I was just going to say, I remember when I was over in Oz and Ricky came back to Australia, because obviously he went away for a bit, and he turned up on this board that looked like I can only be described as a canoe. It was so long. And I'm like, who's this dude? Because he was obviously back on the tour back in the day and, ripped and everything. Yeah. But I didn't really know who he was. And he went out and he hit some of the latest, craziest hits. And I was thinking, and he literally just got some gear cobbled back together, or he got some old gear out of shed that he had stored somewhere. And he just went out and attacked the thing. And I was like, yes, that's what the people want to see. That's what they want to see.
No, definitely. No, it's super cool, isn't it? Like, I love that. It's like windsurfing is cool for me because it's just general. It's underground. It's basically an underground sport. It's got basically hardly any public profile. You mention windsurfing to anyone, they think you're just poodling around on a lake, and then you'll get guys like that are just absolute chargers, and you just they should actually be quite well known or respected in the surfing world, but it's just this weird, windsurfing it kind of operates in this weird void or something. It's just, it's so funny.
No, it is mad. It's like you say, people's idea of windsurfing. You mention windsurfing to someone, they're not thinking of Margaret River, mast and a half high, someone smacking it or something, or Jaws or whatever, or some gnarly break or whatever it might be, even speed. They're thinking of triangle sail, tootling up and down pretty much.
It's
Quite
funny, isn't
sad, really, if I'm honest. It's like the image of windsurfing should be way better. Like if you get your average person to watch someone surfing for half an hour in a surfing contest, and then you watch, let's say, Pozo or someone like this, I'm sure they'd be way more entertained by watching Pozo. Just your average guy who's not into surfing or windsurfing, just, you know, that you've just pulled them off the street and gone, right, you have to watch this or this for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you know, there can be a lot of sitting around in surfing. Windsurfing, it's pretty dynamic.
Oh, look, I mean, they're both sick. When you see surfing in good conditions, it's awesome. But I know what you mean. Like if you look at the comps, a lot of the time they're just sitting around waiting for a wave. Like, and the commentators are filling in the gaps basically. But look, there's a lot of opportunity, I think, for windsurfing. And that's another whole discussion we could probably get onto at some point. Is just the future of the wave thing and the comps and, you know, what's going on with the IWT, PWA thing, because obviously there's a bit going on there. I was just going to, before we move on though, I was just going to, because I've got my mate Tim chatting, I can see him on the side. Another guy that was who's down south who's really good is Corey, Corey Jones. You probably know him.
Yeah.
That guy's
100%.
a mental case. Like he charges like double mast Nalu and just, you know, just death slabs and stuff. And I'm trying. There's another. So many guys. Yeah. Oh, there is. There's what, you know, the sickest thing I've ever seen windsurfing. Pretty much. Yeah, it pretty much is the sickest thing I've seen. And I'm now trying to. Tim or Ross, if you're listening, what's the name of the old charger that used to Delta boards down at Margie's? I can't get him out of my brain. Anyway, hopefully they mention his name. Hold on, I'll just see if they comment. Is anyone writing a comment? What's his name? Did you ever go to Margie's in like the early 2000s, 90s?
No, I haven't been. I was there actually doing a racing event on my Mistral Imco in '99, but I never went down to Margaret River.
Yeah. Actually, now, okay,
Blair
thank you. Yeah. Blair's actually another bloke, but actually, Speed Lab, Pat Redmond. So, have you ever heard of Pat Redmond?
Yeah, Pat Redmond. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, like, one of the first times I ever went out at Margie's, it was probably like, I think it was like 1999 or something like that. And I was pretty like nervous. I mean, it was a pretty solid day. It wasn't super big, but it was like, it was well over mast high. Like, you know, and when you're first out in the waves at Margie's, it's pretty intimidating. So, and I was basically just like, I sort of launched through the keyhole and just like putting out. And I was like, oh shit, look at the wave. It looks like, you know, hopefully I don't die kind of thing. And this guy just comes fanging down, like from way backdooring the wave, he's way upwind of the peak, and just basically just hits the, like, because you know when you go to Margs, like that peak it's pretty gnarly. Like it's like if you mistime that peak, you're just gonna eat shit, like basically. And this guy, he just hits this probably mast and a half peak, it just like fully backdoors it, just like at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and just boost the hugest aerial over the section and just lands back on the, you know, on the wave. And I was like, that is the sickest thing I've ever seen. Like, it was like, it's the sickest thing I've seen surfing or windsurfing. Like, I was like, it's just so sick. Like, it's just like, if people could actually see that up close and just how critical and how tricky, like, to do that, like, and not eat shit, basically, is like, it was cool. It was cool. And like, it's just, you know, but again, you don't see,
I would really like to see an event at Margie's, because I think, like, there's a few events on tour now, you know, the IWT joined with the PWA, and we've seen events like Pakis Mayo and these sort of places, which are, I think, amazing waves for free sailing. But for competition, I'm not sure they're the best waves, because what I want to see in a competition is that do or die moment that, you know, and Margie's has that. Like, if you don't hit the main hit, you're on the shoulder. So you have to hit it. So when you've got the best guys in the world and maybe a couple of local wild cards, that wave is pretty intimidating when it's throwing, and you've got to hit it. You've got to hit it. There's no getting around it. There's no snaking down the wave, or, you know, if you've got a really nice wave and people are doing very similar turns, it's very hard to judge. Whereas I feel Margie's would be way easier because it's just there. You know, you've got one.
Oh.
And then for people who've never ever been to Margaret River, it's an amazing place because you can sit on the top. It's just like the perfect stadium windsurfing, isn't it? It's like you're sitting on the grass at the top, looking down, just perfect. It's a bit like Hookeeper, but on the other way around. So it would complement Hookeeper amazingly well.
Oh, it's definitely up there as one of the best sort of wave sailing just venues for, with all that included, for sure. I think the thing with Margie's is like, and this happens with a lot of windsurf comps, is that often when they have a comp and then you see the footage, or if they try to live stream it or anything like that, it just never does it justice, because they, you know, you need to, I mean, that's a whole other discussion, but basically you need to get the filming right, because, you know, if you film from way, way away or too far up in the sky or that kind of stuff, it just doesn't, it doesn't really do it, you know. It's whereas at Margie's you could make it super sick, but, you know, you just have to, get that whole media thing right with it as well.
Yeah.
Which is tricky, isn't it?
I mean, we've had these conversations before. Maybe we even go into that a little bit, because as we just said, Peterway sort of joining with the IWT, even though it's still run as almost two separate tours, it's now counting as one, or the 5-star events are counting towards the world champion. I know it's the first year, so there are a few teething things. They've had to do things a certain way to kind of integrate it and just basically suck it and see how it goes, and then use the feedback from this year to make next year better. They've just finished, obviously, the event in Japan. Do you watch the live stream for that? Did you watch anything?
I watched about 2 minutes of it, and then I just kind of switched off a bit.
Yeah, so for anyone who didn't tune in, I mean, I've seen some amazing conditions. Omazaki look really good, actually. Before the comp looked really good. After the comp looked really good. During the comp, they had conditions, but it was on the light side with the wind, and the wave wasn't super big. So the comp, in the end, they didn't finish the men's comp. And I don't think they finished the women's comp, but it didn't count towards the world rankings because they only had 7 riders in it, which I think is also a shame that you go to all that effort and it doesn't actually count for the world rankings. I need to confirm that, but I heard. So in the men, they got down to the final 8. And it was just gutted. I was a bit gutted for them. And I think there's got to be a better way to do these comps. Like, I honestly... I know, because I've looked into it, it's not as easy as I'm going to say now, but what would be in the perfect thing is a waiting period and getting conditions that are world class, or at least decent. Because on the stuff that we saw, it was really hard to differentiate between certain riders because of conditions. There was, I mean, don't get me wrong. You could definitely had a decent comp. If they'd have got wind all the way to the end or had enough light, we would have had a deserved winner. But it was definitely close in certain heats, which is hard to differentiate. And again, where do you put that? Like, I don't mind watching that, but when you see good conditions, it's like night and day. What's your feeling on that?
Well, with the guys that I hang out with, and if we ever chat about it, you know, the common thing that is often said is that if you're going to have a wave sailing comp, we sort of want it in conditions where there's as good conditions as you can get. So that's the first thing I'll say. I mean, it's a little bit tricky because you got places like Silt, which is obviously the best funded event, but it's not exactly an amazing wave sailing spot. So it is a bit tricky, but...
No, I was going to say, say that, but did you see this year's?
Sure. Yeah, it can be cool, but you know what I mean, though. Like it's like, if people think of wave sailing, they don't often think of Silt. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, it's, you know, it's but yeah. Look, it's. I'm not saying you don't have an event like on there, but it's just like, I think if you're going to have a wave sailing tour, you really need to look at where's the best chance of getting the best conditions, basically, because if you want to create something that's going to get people's attention, they want to see more down the line. I mean, wave guys anyway. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. Like
yeah, but that's good.
Like you know what I mean? Like if it's Cabo Verde, you're actually going to go, oh, sick, Cabo Verde. If they say Japan, it's like, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome that like it's there, but I'm probably going to have less interest because I just know the wave situation is not going to be quite as exciting or like just down the line.
Have you seen Amazaki on its day? Like I think the venue is good. I think, and it's amazing to have, like, I know how many young kids are coming through and out of Japan at the moment. There's definitely like a big influx of kids coming through. So I think it's really important to have an event there. And I think the spot, when it's going off, looks really fun. Like it looks like a starboard tack jumping, which you definitely need on the tour, just to even it up for the guys that have had port tack for the last 15 years. But the problem is, and this is the problem which I see for a long time, there's a lot of venues we go to, let's say Giroa would be one. How do you guarantee you get wind? This is the hardest question for organizers. It's really impossible because they've got to get sponsors and they've got to tell them we're going to do this, we're going to do this. For riders, there's not enough money to say, oh, come and sit here for a month until we get some conditions. So yeah. I think the difficulty is, how do you guarantee the conditions? Because even the best spots in the world, I've been to Cape Verde for a World Cup, we didn't get one breath of wind the whole week.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. And so you're in the best place in the world, you're at the right time of year, and you still don't get what you've got. So how do you solve that problem?
Yeah. Well, I just want to touching on the Japan thing. I'll be honest, I actually really know very little about Amazaki. I've never been there. I don't actually really know how good it can get. Whenever I've seen it, it's generally been a bit more sort of, like it doesn't look like, I haven't seen it at its best, I guess. So that's the first thing I'll say with that. And the other thing is, as far as like the waiting period, like, it probably needs to be looked at because, for sponsors and just trying to organize an event, like, as you said, you go to Cabo Verde or somewhere like that and it's, you could just get nothing. So it's tricky. Like I think like if you have a blank sheet of paper and we said, okay, Ben, you're in charge of designing the dream tour for windsurf, for wave sailing, and you can do anything you want, then like you probably would put that down and say, well, we're going to have to look at forecasts, because otherwise you could easily do like 4 events a year and almost get nothing if you're unlucky. Like it's you know what I mean. So
it basically comes down to money at the same time, because it's really hard to expect the riders to do what they do. It depends. Like everyone's always been fighting for more events. That's what everyone wants, more events. The problem is, it's almost not. It's hard to do for the riders. Like a lot of them, it really. There's to go to Fiji, Japan, all these places is amazing. But the problem is, it's like chicken and the egg. You've got to create the tour and create all this stuff to get its sponsors interested to maybe give that money, because I think the riders for too long have been relying on the industry, which is pretty dangerous because the industry in windsurf is not that big. We need to look and work out how, which is everyone's been talking about for years, but how to make it appealing like motocross was. Well, not everyone rides a motocross bike, but they go and watch it, or there's money from the outside coming in. So it's working out how to do that. Or I think it's a really tricky one. One. I mean, for example, Japan this week I think is windy, like going off. And that's what I heard. I haven't double checked that, but I heard something like that. And you think all the riders are there, everyone's there, but they're not going to stay on. It's like it's difficult, isn't it? It's like it's I think it's one of the most amazing things in our sport, which is wave sailing, but to get competitions with the right conditions so people can see it is pretty difficult.
Definitely.
They do a good job, like Maui, Pozo always delivers, a lot of places always deliver, but to get those special places,
No, look, no, for sure. It's like always going to be the problem with windsurfing because you need wave sailing because you need waves and wind, and a certain direction wind and the whole thing. So it is kind of tricky. But as far regarding the all the events and like lots of events, I was chatting with Simeon the other day, the organizer of the whole wave sailing sort of tour for this year, and we chatted for about an hour on the phone about this topic, and basically, I get along with him pretty well, so I can just sort of air my opinions to him without him worrying that he's going to get offended or whatever. But I basically just said to him, look, from where I'm sitting as a fan, like I don't enter events, I don't go in them, but as a fan, I was like, maybe like try to cut down the number of events and just try to concentrate your premium events on locations that are likely to happen, and like make the other events like your Japan event and all that sort of stuff is more of a QS style kind of event where basically people can enter these events to become, say, the top 16 to then enter like the premium events that at the end of the year there might be like 3 or 4 events or whatever. Like keep it kind of smallish a bit so it's people can sort of, I guess, make it doable for them. And that way you can sort of make up a bit. It's like you create a bit of a story that way too, because then people kind of fighting for something. It's like, I'm on the QS. Oh, if I get 4th place here, I can get into this top 16. And then if I get in top 16, I get to do those kind of dream events, at the end, or, I don't know, something along those lines. Because at the moment they've got a star ranking, there's this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-star ranking. Like you familiar with that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it in the sense of I know they've got a star ranking. Do I know what all stars mean? No.
Yeah,
I just know they've got stars.
Exactly. And like you're like a mega fan, I'm a fan, and we don't even know what the star thing is, right? So what hope is the average punter out there going to like get their head around it? It's kind of like you're adding quite a lot of complexity basically to something that doesn't necessarily need to be overly complex. So I reckon you just like you just, because there's lots of events all around the world. Like Geraldine has a fan. I mean, just in Australia, there's, like on the East Coast, they have like 4 or 5 wave events, like during summer, they've got multiple wave events all here. And you could just, you could just call them like, feeder events, like QS events, and you get a certain amount of points for, the event. And you basically, it goes onto a leaderboard. And at the end, the top 16 just get to, or whatever, I just made a number 16, make it 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
Get to go on these special events at the end, which are events that you could actually throw a little bit of money at and actually film it properly and get the media, like, because like the problem with windsurfing as well is, you have these events like, like last year at Fiji, they had pretty good conditions, but when you watched it online, it was pretty painful because unfortunately the media guys that were there, it was like Fijian media company, they don't know how to film windsurfing. So the drone's flying 3,000 meters up in the air and you're looking at everything through 3 pixels on the screen and the whole thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not ideal. So basically you need to basically just have a few events where you go, look, for these few events, I mean, the others do what you can, but for these few events, you need to film it as best you possibly can and just create something, whether like the live stream thing as well. It's like, I was talking to Simeon about it. The problem with live stream is, and I haven't looked into it too much, but to actually do a live stream properly, like when I say properly, I'm sort of saying to a point where it's like marketable property, like your properly where it's like, media companies or sponsors will be interested. You're talking literally tens of thousands of dollars.
A lot of money.
And that's being like modest. Like if you if you watch like a WSL event, like the surfing tour, and they do live streams, I think they've got, I don't know how much it costs per event, but I remember just reading something like crazy is like I think they spend like close to $1 million event or something.
It's ridiculous.
Like something
kind
like
of
that.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've heard some crazy numbers, and it makes sense because people don't realize how much effort and how many people want paying, and it is it's just a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a small sport to do live stream. It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
there's
exactly.
different ways of looking at live stream. Obviously, I'm pro live stream because I do the commentary, but I definitely understand there's certain events, if they haven't got the budget, maybe shouldn't do live stream. But if you don't do live stream, you really need to cover it in a way where you come away with like almost like a documentary style video of the event with all the highs and lows. So the problem is you'd still have to film it like a live stream event. So, and the diehard fans then miss out because they like to watch it live.
Yeah.
But do the numbers add up? And that's the question.
Well, I think that it's a chicken and egg thing, because it's like, yeah, we all want live stream. We all want to see it, going off and having sick footage. But what's the chance of that actually happening in the short term? It's not likely. Like, you basically have only a certain amount of resources to play with. So the question is, do you try and cover all bases and end up doing it all pretty shit? Or do you just choose one thing and go, all right, we're going to have to just put the live stream thing to a side and just try and create something? Like, I mean, this is the big question. I'm not saying I have the answer, but it's like, the problem is the resources are small and you have to basically go for quality over quantity to try and generate more interest and sponsors and so forth. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it at the moment, because like, whenever I see this live stream, I think, oh, they've actually had to spend a fair bit of money to get that happening for little results. It's like, but look, I don't want to sort of pour cold water over something like that.
Me, if you've got the money and you want to do a documentary style, you can do live stream, but the live stream needs to be filmed. You also need, I always feel like you need people getting the story. The story has been missed for years and years. Like, the interesting bit is the emotion. Like I always say, if you watch a football highlights clip or a teaser clip, half of the shots are not football. Probably 80% are not football. They're all the celebrating. They're all the emotion, the misses, like, it's all about emotion and selling the characters. And I feel like in windsurfing, that's what we need now. Like,
definitely
is the same. We want the people to be interested to watch competition. You get interested to watch competition when you are invested in the riders. If you're invested in the personalities and the riders, you're more likely to want to watch the competition play out. I think I said to you the other day, it's a bit like boxing. You've got like two world championship boxing match going on, and no one's interested in it. And then you've got Jake Paul, who's some YouTuber who's taking on the brother of a world champion, and it's got even bigger views. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, that's right. So we need boxing matches.
That just says exactly what's going on in windsurfing. We need people to be involved in, and the more we can see about the personalities and the characters, is more we're going to be interested in the actual water stuff, I think.
So if you could have two windsurfers in a boxing match, who would it be?
Say again.
If you could choose two windsurfers for a boxing match, who would it be?
Oh, it's a good one. Depends if you want like a bloodbath. I think it'd be interesting to pick like Thomas Traversa or someone like this, like going against. I'm just trying to think who's got a mean side, who might like pull out the big guns. Who have we got? Top 10. Like Swifty's pretty solid. His dad's a wrestling background.
Oh, really?
He might be able to pull out something. I think a couple of them have got some MMA fighting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, you could just have like,
depends what you want to see. Who's up for you? Who's in yours? Death match, windsurfing death match.
Matt check.
Yeah, we got a couple coming in. Amado versus Tati. Matt check would be good. Matt check would. Matt check.
Yeah, because I loved seeing him getting fired up at. I mean, that look. By the way, because I just have to put it out there in case anyone's seen it, but the video where he almost lost the world title because he caught a plastic bag on his foil or whatever, and Tim saying me versus Campello, but actually, Maciek versus Campello, that'd be a good one. Is that I thought that was quite amazing because sorry, regarding this plastic bag thing, because I can only imagine like how crazy that would make you feel, where you literally just have to like finish a race or do, you know, something relatively minor to win a world title, and he gets stopped by a plastic bag, and then he gets on the beach and basically has like a mini meltdown thing. Like but the way he had his meltdown, I just loved as well, because it was like he sort of got all philosophical. Like he was on the beach and he was like, what's the point of all this? Or like, you know, like it was kind of like it's like he's getting mad but without getting mad or something.
But
Like
I loved it.
I just loved it. I loved it. I thought it was so cool. Yeah. Anyway, if you're listening, Maciek,
I'm with you.
hopefully,
but this is what makes sport, Paul. This is why there was people complaining about that. I always remember reading the comments, and I always like to read the comments and see what people are saying. And it's like, it's unprofessional. It's this, it's that. I'm like, you got to remember that guy has dreamt of that moment his whole life. Yeah. He's finally got to a point where it's the last race of the season. He just needs to do this. It's all there. He's in a good position. It's literally game, set, match. And then a plastic bag stops him. You know, that notion, you cannot keep that in. Like, it's funny looking back on it. But the story, how it all played out, that to me is sport. You can't write that script. If you wrote that script, people would go, no, that's too far-fetched. You know, Maciek from Poland is winning and this happens. And, you know, like, you couldn't write it. It wouldn't be believable. For it to happen, that's what true. We need.
Well, if anyone said to me, oh, what do you know about that event? The only thing I remember is plastic bag, Maciek losing his shit, and then him winning the world championship. That's all I remember. Like, it's just... But you're dead right. You need the personalities. And it's also why your channel is, well, actually, not just your channel, but anyone who does a windsurfing YouTube channel, it comes down to their personalities. Like, you know, like your people are invested in your channel because of you. Like they see you, they like you, they kind of think, oh, Ben seems like a good bloke. Like, and like, that's, you know, like my channel, I don't put my face on the channel much because I don't know, I'm not super comfortable. Like, I mean, when I film, I don't really like turning the camera on myself because I'm always enjoy filming other things. But if you actually put a person's face or your own personality in a video, you get a lot more hits, you know what I mean? Like a lot more engagement.
I will say though, like some of your, which I haven't mentioned at all, but some of my favorite videos are the ones where you've actually done like interviews. When you went to Pollock Shaper, you know, like the what's it called, strapper stuff. I really enjoyed that. The stuff you've done with like Anton Payne in Geraldton and stuff like this. You've got a really easy style. Like, mine's quite annoying, my style. I know some people would grate on them.
It's not annoying at all.
No, but you've got a very relaxed, really easy, listenable voice, and you ask good questions, and I found them really interesting, like super interesting. So, thanks, I would definitely do more of that stuff because it also seemed easy for you. I don't know if it was easy because I know sometimes it's not as easy as it looks, but it seemed like it came across like you were super interested and you were just being you, asking questions that you would want to hear, which was exactly the questions I wanted to ask. So I kind of felt really comfortable watching them.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. I mean, it's a lot easier to be behind the camera, I reckon, than in front because like when I edit it, I'm editing, like I often will like start just blubbering crap out. And I'm like, when I'm editing, I'm like, oh my God, I've got to cut that out. So you're kind of seeing a nice kind of condensed version of me. Otherwise, if you just saw it unedited, you'd probably be like, Jesus, this guy ever shut up. But like the other thing is, what was I going to say about the, like that type of, doing that kind of interviewee thing. I sort of say to anyone out there, anyone listening, like if you're a windsurfer and you've got a YouTube channel or you just start one up or even your social media, is like just grab your phone and just film like say you're down at the beach with your mates and you just like, you know, whatever, just like what's happening down the beach, having a bit of a laugh about windsurfing. Because like literally when you see my videos, like apart from this amazing editing studio I have here, the only things I use is my phone and a drone. I don't have anything else. Like all the footage that you see of me going around, like Strapper is literally me with my iPhone and this little tripod I've got, and that's it. I don't have an SLR. I don't have any of that stuff. I mean, it's cool if you've got it, but these phones you can film in decent enough. I mean, really good quality now. So
totally agree.
And literally everybody has a high quality camera in their pocket. Like now, like it's like, so like I would just, like if anyone has any interest in trying to be a bit creative and just want to, help improve the profile of windsurfing, just do little funny little videos. Actually, on this too, Ben, I have a lot of chats with Sam Dillon, my mate who's just moved to Geraldton from over east. And he comes from a BMX background. And like, if you look at like BMX and skateboarding and snowboarding, these kind of sports, they often if you think of skateboarding, for example, you just can't help but just feel like it just has a cool vibe about it. Like I don't skate, but you know how like when you think of skateboarding, you look at the videos, they're often like really creative. They're like really well edited, well shot as well. Like the guys who skate, they're not only they're good skaters, they're like bloody good photographers as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like they get just as much off on the videoing and the photography as they do the skating itself or something. Like it's like
do you not think they've they've got it so much easier? Like they have a ramp, they have a scene or whatever, and they just you can literally get your phone out and film it. Whereas windsurfing, it's the equivalent of being swimming in the water and filming. It always looks cool when you do it, but the effort involved and the timing with waves which are moving, and oh man, I just feel like we have been dealt a short straw there, because all the skateboarding videos, they can literally just do the thing again and again and again in the same spot, different angle, different this, it's so much easier.
No, that's a fair point. Well, in that case, look more towards surfing videos then. Like surf, obviously they're they're in the water, and they have a similar kind of vibe in a lot of the videos. Like with my videos, I'm basically a hack. Like I literally just, like I said, use my phone, use a drone. Okay, I've sort of learned the basics of editing and stuff, but I like we've had I remember we spoke about this on the phone a month or two ago, whatever it was, and you said to me, oh, look, I know, like you watch all these other videos and you're like, oh, I know what I could do to make things better, but to actually do them is another thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, I could do this and I could do that and da, 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 da. But for me, this is just like a hobby. But like, I also think that like there is an opportunity in windsurfing to just up the game a little bit with just the creativity and just simple things like that Anton video that you mentioned. Like that's a really well-received video. Like that one is one of the videos that goes up by like, for me, about 100 views a day, which if you put a video out and it's like a year or two old and it's still going up by 100 views a day, that's pretty good. Because that's like 30, it's like, 36, sorry, what is it? Yeah, 36,000 views a year if it maintains 100 views a day or whatever. So it's like, it's still going up. And the reason people like that is just because it's that kind of more lifestyle-y thing. You're just hanging out, you're having a bit of a chat. It's all just like people can just sit back and just pretend they're there with you.
Yeah,
something like that.
Totally. I love them. They'd be my favorite, I would say.
Yeah. Like that's cool. But like, I mean, that's just my own kind of thing, or whatever. But there's just, you can do more of these sort of things. Like I look at a lot of the other videos and surfing and stuff, and I can see exactly what needs to be done. But what happens as well is, especially with the well-known personalities, say surfing, like you've got like Nate Florence and Koa Rothman and like JOB, like JOB and all that, those guys. Yeah. But the thing is, like they've obviously built it up. Like they started probably by themselves, but they've got like two or three videographers. They've got a drone guy. They've got an editing guy. So like when you see those videos, there's at least 5 or 6 people involved. Like when a video like that. Whereas like when I do a video, I'm literally by myself. I'm just like by myself with my phone and a drone, and then go exactly. Like we all are, right? We all are. So like then you go home and edit it. So there's obviously only so much you can do, but Anyway, I
No,
think
but
there's
I would
there's
go
def-
back to the phone thing, like just to motivate guys at home. I've got this for anyone who's watching on YouTube now. This is just a plastic 15 euro, 10 euro thing off Amazon where your phone like fits into that. And it's
yeah,
just,
right.
you know, and then you've got this double handle, you can hold it, you can selfie it, I can plug a mic into this. And it's so easy to film. And I've filmed pretty much all my stuff now. You can go live with it because the phone goes live. And the quality on my phone, my iPhone, I can never tell the difference between that and my other camera, which is way more hassle to use. This, you can upload it straight away. It's like people, windsurfers, and especially the semi-pros, pros, I personally think, and looking at this as well, this next comment, is the same thing. The personalities alongside it, the Ride to Survive that's made, you know, Formula One bigger, which is obviously a massive production, but it's the same thing. You're getting an insight into the drivers or the riders, whoever it is.
Yeah.
So you're more invested. You want to see the competition because you know there's beef between that. You know he's had a hard year. He's been struggling. You know, like the more they sell themselves personality wise, the more the fans, you know what I mean? Like guys that are following will chip in and support everything. I really think there needs to be more windsurfing media. There's not enough windsurfers making quality, interesting. And maybe I'm old now, but I get fed up of just watching action. I need some context. I need some interesting information alongside it. Again,
Exactly.
it goes back to your Anton film.
Well,
I found it really interesting because you get an insight of where you live in, where you're going to the beach. Again, it's not for everyone, but I feel that type of video, because we've kind of been saturated by shorts and Instagram and all this, we now crave, or I do anyway, longer form, interesting documentary almost style, which doesn't mean you need a team of 20 people, but just a storyline to follow. And like I said, and a personality to buy into. I think it's interesting.
Oh, definitely. I was going to say with regarding that, like, yeah, it's my pet peeve too. Is like when you see like a video of a really good sailor, and then they put a video out on YouTube, and it's just like 2 second like cuts, just like bam, 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 this forward, back loop, da 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 da. Like you don't hear anything what they say. You don't know who this person is. Like, yeah, sure, you know the name, you've seen them. Like even all the top sailors who I've never met, I really know very little about them. I don't like you mentioned the names, like, you know, I don't know, like you just think of all the top sailors basically. And I'm like, I don't really know what they're like. I've got a rough idea just from their kind of how they present their videos and stuff like that. But it's like, just have a video where they're like at home and they're like getting ready in the car and like, oh, I'm going to choose this board today. Like, oh yeah, because of
Hey,
A, B, and
just an
C.
example, just to butt in,
Yeah.
because it's a really interesting one. Cape Town this year, we're at Cape Point. We've got a clinic of 10 people, you know, all keen windsurfers, paid money to advance their windsurfing, all at a good level. And they came to me, they go, is there anyone good out there at the moment? You know, like, is there any professional riders? That would never have happened 20 years ago. If Josh Stone had been on the water, if, you know, the top guys at the time had been on the water, people would have known. So for them to be asking me, you know, yeah, they're good sailors. They could see the level is good, but they haven't got a clue who they are. You know, Baptiste Clarec, Miguel Chapuis, you know, Alessio Stilrich. These guys are all out there, but they don't have a concept of them or what they look like on the beach or what gear they're on. You know, the sail numbers are not so distinct anymore. Everyone's on production stuff. It's like they blend into the background. And it made me question, that made me think exactly what I just said before, is the normal windsurfer is not invested in the guys like they were. You know, what that's to do with media, to do with anything else, don't know. But like I said, if Josh Stone, Robbie Nash, these guys who were the big guys at the time had been out in 2000 or whenever it was, there's no way people will be asking me, oh, is there anyone good at it? They'll be going, oh my God, it's Robbie Nash. Oh my God, it's that's the change. And I think that needs to be addressed.
I was going to say, you're actually probably the most famous windsurfer on the planet right now, Ben.
Well, I don't not being famous, but in terms of
No, but I mean, most
recognizable
well known.
voice.
That's what I mean.
No, but
Yeah,
it's
like
interesting.
no, but like when you go to the beach, like A, if you're a windsurfer, they'd know who you are, and B, they would have a pretty good idea of who you are as a person's personality, just because they actually listen to you, kind of, basically.
It is definitely interesting, and I've noticed that. Obviously, more so since I've done much more YouTube and obviously done the world tour stuff. But like someone actually just mentioned it before when I did the Luderitz Speed Challenge videos, because people are brought along on the journey, and you can't bullshit people. You're not a 20 crew. You're just making it up. So you're just talking how you would normally, and people buy into that personality and follow your progress. And then I remember after that Luderitz video, going down the beach, especially in Oz, people like, oh my God, who I never thought would watch a speed video, was going, oh yeah, we watched this, what's this? And you start to realize that is what the other guys need to do. They need to put themselves out there, and they need to be, I don't know, I really feel they need to be making more vloggy style content, interesting journey type content, which I think is super important, like more important than they realize, than just ripping up the spot for the millionth time,
Oh, for sure. And like the thing is, how many forwards and back loops and everything do you need to see? It's like, look, don't get me wrong, they're good to see, but you've seen it 1,000 billion times. So mix it up a bit. Like just put whatever in there. Just do something. I mean, like some of my videos, obviously, you've seen some of the crazy crap I put in there, and it's like still gets views. I think people are also a bit worried. They're like, oh, I can't do that. Like if I do this, like, well, what are people going to think? Or like, it's like, hey, we're windsurfing. We're like, no one really cares. Like it's like we're sort of starting at a pretty low level. Like you might as well just be creative and just try something different. I just see some comment like Gibbons says Ben's infamous, not famous. Like I want to clarify that. Like when I said you're the most famous windsurfer, I meant more like amongst windsurfers themselves, like outside of windsurfing. Yeah, I mean obviously, there's other guys out there that are more famous, like Robbie Nash and all these sorts of guys. I just meant, but you know what I mean? Yeah. I just meant within windsurfing. Yeah.
I've had it before. I'm there with Mark Paré, who for me is one of the best windsurfers at the moment, upcoming, whatever. And I'm with him, and there's people going, "Hey Ben, you couldn't, oh, can I get a picture?" And they're going, "Oh, could you just take a picture, mate?" I'm like, this guy's like, way
that's awesome,
and he's taking the picture, like and it's again, it makes me laugh, and I take the piss out of him, but it's almost sad at the same time because they've got to find a way to put their faces out there, which I think Mark's doing a much better job now with the videos he's been doing recently. But I think it's really important. Like I said, I think and the brands maybe need to support that a bit more rather than just supporting the competitions. The competitions are good, but I think things have definitely shifted, and there is ways of doing stuff now which I think are equally as important as competitions. And I like competition. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of competition, but I do think it needs a reshuffle and a whole new look of how we're doing it. A lot of the brands are very old school, and they've got like the way they measure stuff is very much competition. If you get top 5, you get this, and that's it's changed. It's definitely changed.
Actually, I was just about to say something, but before I do that, can I just because I've noticed there's a few questions being asked on the side, and I haven't can I just answer some of them?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll just go through the start. I'm just scrolling through, blah blah blah. Okay, I've got a few of my mates at the start that are just chin wagging. The first one, Premo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that well. Premo Jasniaki. What would you recommend to someone starting out with drones and video production as first steps? What drone? Well, there's different brands out there. I just use the DJI ones because that's they're the biggest brand and they're very reputable and make a good quality drone. So I guess I'm just going to recommend that for now, but you can do your own research. Within the DJI brand, there's quite a few different drones. I've only ever used the Mavics and the Phantoms, but now the Phantom is kind of seen as old school. And basically you're left with the Mavic. And within the Mavic range, there's different series. So there's like a Mavic, they're up to Mavic 3, which is kind of like their prosumer drone, which is like you can get really good quality and it's a bit more expensive for that drone. And then it goes down into smaller series, like they have the Air 2S and the
What's that
Mavic
like?
Mini. Well, I've never actually had I've never owned an Air 2S,
but I just never flown it.
Yeah. Look, basically, if you're going to film windsurfing, you either want to get the Air 2S or the Mavic 3 All 2. I mean, the 3 is the latest one if you can get a secondhand. Like I've always bought secondhand because like people buy drones, they use them 2 times and they put it in the cupboard and you buy them and can say, yeah, okay. Why don't you use drones more, mate? Anyway, and then, yeah. Anyway, so basically,
if anyone wants to buy a drone, I've got a Mavic 2 Air S. It's been used twice.
Okay, there you go. Well, look, basically, I just if people come up to me and say, "What drone should I get, or where should I buy?" Blah blah blah. I just say, "Look, go buy secondhand. You'll save yourself $1,000, and just when you see the drone, just have a look at it. Has it got any damage on? Like, as far as does it look like it's been crashed? You know, like if there's no markings on it and you can obviously take off and it goes up and down and left and right and everything, then chances are it'll be fine. Like you're going to see if it's been if someone run into something, you'll see an obvious scratch or something like that on it.
How many drones have you lost?
I'm up to my 4th drone in 6 years. And out of that, I've lost 3. I've actually been I could have easily lost a drone probably 10 times more, but just I guess, yeah, pretty lucky. But out of those 3 drones that I've lost, one of them literally was my first one, the Phantom. Like I was been getting pretty close shots in Giro, and sometimes you get a bit of salt spray onto the drone, and they're essentially like flying laptops. You know, like they've obviously got they're a computer with propellers on it, and they get covered in salt, and it all goes throughout the internals. So basically, I was flying it one day and it just froze and just dropped out of the sky. You know what I mean? So like when you lose a drone, it's not just because you're necessarily crashing into someone, but they just malfunction basically. So that was the first drone. That was pretty sad because I filmed all my Giroa videos with that drone. I was a bit attached to it. And then that video you had before, Primby, I did hit someone, but that drone survived. But I have there was another one I was filming surfing, and the spray off the back of the wave covered the drone, and just it got too much water on it. That also dropped out of the sky. And then
super low.
Yeah, I tried to. And then there was a third drone where I was filming a slalom race, actually, which that's something else I was going to talk about. But I've never filmed slalom races, and I was down at on the same lake that Primby was filmed, and they were doing a figure of 8 course. So the problem was, I thought, all right, sick, I'm going to film a slalom event. I'm going to get in really close and do it sick. But the problem with the figure 8 course, of course, is that they're all crossing each other, aren't they? They're going around the buoy and coming back, and they're all there's people coming from the left and the right. And I literally was trying to get in close with the leader. I was literally on his tail, to the side of him a bit. And then, but another guy was coming the other way, and I can't see peripherally out to the side because you're just looking through a drone through the camera, and I'm literally flying sideways. And then this guy came from the side, and I just smacked straight into his mast, it just took it out. And whenever I hit someone, if I've hit someone like that, I'm obviously really concerned that I haven't injured them, because that would be a pretty, interesting experience to have to deal with that. But luckily, that one hit his mast and it went in the water. Actually, there was one other time, sorry, I've lost 4 now I think about it. There was another time where I was filming a speed run, and I just did something really silly where I was filming this guy. I was really bummed because I was getting this really good shots. I was if I had that video out, I was like, fuck, I'm getting the best shots here. I was really close to the action. But as I was filming this guy, he came off the plane, and I was just hovering in front of him, literally going 2 knots backwards. So when you're going backwards, you can't see behind you, obviously. Like, because I could be filming a kilometer away, so you can't see. And as I'm going backwards, there was a guy behind, on the water with his mast up in the air, and like I literally just hit his mast, just doing just hardly moving, and it just drops out of the sky, and that was it. And not only I was more bummed about losing the footage because it all gets stored on a SD card, on the drone. So I was like, oh my god, I just had the best footage and it's all gone. But that's how it goes. You lose some. So anyway, but yeah, it's regarding the slalom race. I remember that that footage of in Fuerteventura where you've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. Where it's like it's that battle where the guy
yes,
sorry,
Anton Albo and Matteo Iachino.
Exactly, yeah, and he catapults, and like that was actually really good drone work on that video because it's not that easy actually.
Two people.
Oh, it's true. That's actually I looked into that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say on that drone, there's two people, one flying it and one flying and moving the camera.
Yeah. That it's funny you should say that because when that video came out, I was like, oh, that's a good. I wonder who that is, and I looked into it and I realized it was two people. It was one of those Inspire. Like that's the bigger drone where you can control. Someone controls the camera. So, yeah. So anyway, I'll move on.
They shot like Star Wars. Apparently, those guys they were shooting quite a lot for.
Oh, really?
For the Star Wars movie and stuff. Yeah, they've done quite a few bit of stuff, like based in the Canaries.
That's a good gig. So, and then another question from Premier was what editing program? So I've got a Mac and I use Final Cut Pro, which is basically like the best editing software you can get on Mac. I literally can use like I reckon I use 2% of its capability, 1% of its capability. Like it's like they literally make like Hollywood movies on it, and I only just use it for what I need. And but you can use any editing program, but if you use a Mac, Final Cut Pro is good, and if you use PC, I think Adobe Premiere is the other. That's kind of the equivalent, I think.
Yeah, there's a few people using DaVinci stuff now. That Black Magic stuff.
Okay,
I'm not. I just got like you say. I use Final Cut and never even use slightly the capabilities of it. Probably.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Because like it's like editing is like a whole other skill. You could literally spend a hell of a lot of time learning it all. Anyway. That's another thing. So I'm going through. What else have we got here? People just saying their favorites. Oh yeah, so like Speed. Yeah, he's saying he liked the Richie Myers. Did you see the Richie Myers video?
Yes, I did because Richie Myers. Since I ever saw that first video of Richie Myers getting eaten, it just stuck with me. It's just a classic video. And then someone said to me he was living in Australia when I was there. And I was going to do a similar thing, but I think you did a better job anyway because it was really interesting. I found it really interesting, like super interesting, just to see it's just like look into someone's life. It's totally different now to what like just how things evolve. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and that video, I think I said it. If anyone's seen the video, I'm pretty sure I expressed it pretty clearly in the video. But I just want to say with that video, that was such a weird moment for me because like it probably happens to everyone only a couple of times in your life where it's like the stars just align and somehow something weird and wonderful happens. And for me, I was just like out with a mate, we're looking at a guy who makes fine furniture. He mentions that his friend Richie has built the house that he lives in, and then he goes, oh, Richie, he's a windsurfer. And I'm like, okay, oh, windsurfer, okay, what's his surname? And he goes, Myers. I go, Richie Myers? Like, because the thing is like Richie, what's that? Yeah, no, because the thing is for me is like, I remember buying that VHS in like, well, I didn't buy it. I think my parents did or something, but I had that as a kid, like in some, it was just like I had a secondhand VHS and it was from that, it was that event. And I watched it 1,000 times, that VHS. I remember as a kid looking at Richie Myers as some kind of action hero, G.I. Joe kind of character. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's just like this classic surf bloke. And I remember as a kid just going, like, I just watched it going, this guy's like a hero, like but not in a million years that I ever imagined that I would ever meet the guy or even cross paths because it was a childhood thing. Like here I am 35 years later talking to a bloke about fine furniture, and he mentions that Richie Myers, like, it was just weird. I swear it was so weird. I mean, this Richie Myers, he could have been living in any corner of the globe or be dead. I don't know. And then, like, then I ring him up, I get his phone number, and so I've got this YouTube channel, and oh man, like, you won't believe, like, trying to express enthusiasm without sounding like a freak, basically. And then, like, he's like, oh yeah, right on, man. Like, yeah, come on, just come over. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, like, I mean, when he said come over, it wasn't like right then. I think it was the next day. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's a. But like, seriously, when I got there, it was like one of those times when I was like filming, and it was an absolute joy. Like, sometimes filming is a chore. Like, you just like, oh, I can't be fucked. Like, I don't want to film this. Like, that was the time when I was so excited. I was like going, holy shit, it's Richie Myers. Like, it was so weird. And like, yeah, it was just awesome, because Richie Myers for me embodies the golden times of windsurfing. Like, he's like a representation of what it was like and how it was. Like, this dude, you know what I mean? Like, he's more than just a windsurfer. He's just like a cartoon character kind of thing to me. Like, he's like, he was doing all this modeling and acting and all this weird shit. Like, and he's a windsurfer. Like, back in those days, if you're a windsurfer, it was super cool. Well, it wasn't it? Like, like, he lived in an age like
sure.
Yeah, like, he was just living in the best age. Like, he was lucky to have gone through that. And it's just so different now. But anyway, that was Richie Myers. So I'll move on.
For anyone who doesn't know who Richie Myers is or why he's famous, especially for me anyway, was that video? Was it 1984? No.
I should know this, shouldn't I? Because I made the video. That rings a bell. Well,
there's basically a scene in that video where it's massive hoop keeper. It's closing out the channel. No one's making out the back. They're all riding the inside slap. And then, oh my God, Richie Myers, he makes it to the outside. And then he picks off this big wave, goes to bottom turn, runs out of wind, tries to outrun it. And the commentator's like, Richie Myers gets eaten.
Yeah, it's the most
he gets absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, and it's the most famous
interview afterwards, which is that's the favorite one. Is like, drowning by death by drowning.
I know. That's what I love about it. It's just all the words are so perfect. Everything's just perfect, isn't it? He's just like afterwards he's getting interviewed by Corky Carroll or whatever, that bloke, and he goes, "It looks like you were drowning," and he goes, "Well, I was drowning," or like, something like something like that. Like, it's just so classic. It's just like, I don't know. I just love it.
If you haven't checked out, you should just put Richie Myers gets eaten. I'm sure you'll find the video.
Yeah.
But it is an absolute worth a watch. That's 100%.
And like, and again, like, that's an example of personalities, isn't it? Like in those videos, they spend more time chatting with the people than they do filming the windsurfing. Like they literally, you know what I mean? Like they have like minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes of talking with Robbie Nash and this guy and that guy, just having a chat on the beach about what do you think about the conditions, and like when you the comps we have here, like, you go, okay, this is it. This is the final with Campello and blah blah blah, whoever it is. Yeah. But like, it'd be cool if, like, before you could, a few minutes, have a chat with them. What do you think? How's your body going?
This is what I've been pushing for this, because again, like I said earlier, double down on that. I think you need to know more. You need to know more to build it up. And it was like, that was why I quite liked, well, not quite like, I really liked the bit with Maciek. Like, I've been pushing for them to film that sort of stuff. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to film him in case he gets upset. But without someone filming that Maciek moment, that would have been never seen.
Exactly.
Never happened. And that, for me, made that whole event. That's what gave it the emotion. That's when you really see how much it means. And because if you don't know how much it means, it's not that exciting. If you know how much it means to someone, and again, that comes down to everything. You've got to have that feeling of there's something on the line. There's someone's willing to just go beyond the realms of everything just to make it happen, and that adds everything to it. Without that, what sport? If everyone's like, yeah, okay, well done, nice work, yeah, great. It's like, oh, is that it? You want that fight, that little bit of aggression, the passion. That's what makes sport interesting. Without it, it's getting too politically correct now, and oh, we don't want to upset him. Oh God, heaven forbid we don't upset him. We want a camera in his face because that's what you, as a viewer, or me as a viewer anyway, I'll speak for myself. I want to see that passion, that everything. I want to feel like I'm there and it means something. If I get that, sport's interesting, whatever sport it is, whatever sport. I don't think it matters the sport, because windsurfing is a good watch, but we lack the storytelling aspects of it, I think.
No, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think the other thing too is like, because I'm as a content creator, I'm sort of thinking like, if I got invited to an event where there's pro sailors and stuff, I'd probably like say, I don't know, I've been to very few big events, but I would if there was like an announcement at the start of the event where, you know, the organizer said, look, we've got a few content creators here and they're going to be walking around with their cameras, so, you know, like, we're trying to create something here. So, you know, if people come in with cameras in your face and stuff, if you don't want to be filmed, or put your hand up now, but otherwise we're literally going to be filming every like, you know, just anything that, like, you know, for example, if someone comes off the water and they're a bit frustrated, that you get it on camera, because as you said, it's like, otherwise everything's so sanitized and you don't, like, you know, people want to see a bit of drama. Otherwise, yeah, like, think of any sport, like Formula One, there's a lot of drama in it, and people want to see, like, it's just the story, as you said. Like, you got to create some kind of story, basically.
You need that. I personally, and I've been a rider, I don't think the rider gets a choice. If they sign up for the event, that's what they're signing up for. Because without that, how is the event going to make money? How is there going to be interest? You know, you've got to have that. And, you know, within the realms, obviously you don't want the camera in the changing room as you're getting your kit off, but you know what I mean? Within the boundaries of normality. But when you come off the water, there is no problem in sticking a camera in your face. If you don't want to do an interview, that's fine. You just say no. But that also in itself shows emotion, shows something, because they're that pissed off or they're that whatever, that they just don't want it. And that action in itself, like no, and the camera goes, oh, okay, awkward moment, gives you a sense of, oh shit, they are really pissed off. And that's what you need. You need to feel that, I think.
Yeah. But that's also where, like, having an edited video after the event makes it easier, because, you know, like, you could film a live stream for 2 hours and there might be like a couple of moments in there which are interesting, but they're interspersed amongst 2 hours of footage. You know what I mean? Whereas if you have it edited, you can obviously cut out the boring bits and then start throwing it all together and making it a lot more, you know, a bit more interesting. What is it? I know it's already been said. That background Paul's spaceship really is quite magnificent. Thanks, Matty. That's Matty from Reflex Films. If you actually pay close attention to the background, you'll know there's actually 3 of my videos that 4 videos that are up on the screen. There's a Rich Myers behind me. There's the Polar Cow.
Yeah.
Polar Cow. That's the Windsurfing in Iaba. And that's Windsurfing 6.5, which I did recently with Hendrik Stone, Jager. So I'm editing 4 videos at once. You see, I'm pretty multitasking. So I'm just moving on here. Maddie Claire says, choppy editing is shite. I like watching people falling off and water starting, not just making a move. Yeah, totally agree. Because that's the other thing with windsurfing is, like, as a windsurfer, for me, like, I think about what I actually go through when I windsurf. Okay, you beach start, then you're on the water, then you're trying to attack. Okay, a lot of people fall in an attack. You don't always make every take. You don't make every job. You catch a wave, you stack it, you do this, you do that. You're constantly doing things. And obviously in videos, they're not really showing a hell of a lot of that. So I try to put a lot of that realism back into the video where I can. And that way it's a lot more relatable to the people, because as an average, like, most of us are average windsurfers, and we're spending a hell of a lot of time falling in the water and just trying to, you know, master certain things. And that's the other thing, you know, it's a bit of relatability in the videos, where so, and once again, your videos are great for that, Ben. Yeah, there's a lot of relatability in yours because you're doing everyday things, like, you know, like, I like the videos you did in Portugal where you're in the bay and you kind of like get slalom kit out and you're like, you know, how fast can I go? Or you're racing the guy next to him. You know, just stuff like that. It's just very relatable stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you're not trying to break the world record, but you're just having fun out there with whoever's around. That's cool.
I think the windsurfers are starved with content. Really, there's not much out there. There needs to be more. I feel like a lot of the riders could do more with just a bit of effort. I mean, it's not no work. It's obviously a bit of work, but I feel they need to do that. I feel like they could do themselves a lot of favors, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh, look, and like that's what I said. Like anyone listening to this, if you just like you've got a phone, you've got a camera on it, like just it doesn't like just start off with something pretty simple. Like I've done some videos where like I did a video, you know, I do videos where it's like how to rope, like a better way to downhaul a sail with a rope, like just using a simple knot, or like just there's 1,000 things you think about windsurfing. Like it could be anything. I don't know, just funny little things. So what do we got here? Maddie Claire says, are you still living in the van? Yeah, so if anyone's been a subscriber, and actually I just want to say this too while I've got the opportunity, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel, because I've just gotten over 10,000 subscribers, which for me is a pretty amazing, because it's like, you know, I just, when I started it, I thought, oh, no, like you're just putting videos out. You don't even think about it. And then, you know, once you get 10,000, you think, oh, fuck, there's a few people out there that's actually decided to subscribe. So I want to say thank you so much to everybody. And there's also people, they're very supportive. You know, I'm sure you find that with your videos, but like without the subscribers and people commenting, I would have given up probably a long time ago, because you're making videos and like you're doing it for, I mean, you do it for yourself because you want to do it, but you also want to do it because you want to share your stoke and like your enthusiasm with other people that share your enthusiasm. And like sometimes I remember there's been moments where I've literally gone, oh, I can't fucking do this anymore. Because you know, you have a bad day and you just, I don't know, like you just like, I can't be stuck. I just want to go sail. Because, you know, that's the other thing. When you're filming, you're not often sailing. Like you are often, because you get your GoPro on you. But for me, when I'm flying the drone, I'm obviously on the land. And sometimes I filmed like epic conditions, like seriously awesome conditions. And I'm like, fuck, like I was going to go out there, like, you know, but then I'm like, oh, but I really want to get the shot as well. And
yeah.
So anyway, all the kind comments from the subscribers and people, whoever comments, it's like, without those, I seriously would have stopped. Like it's like, so I really, really appreciate it. You know, it's super cool.
I think people shouldn't underestimate a comment. It can be a bad comment can do a lot of damage, but I don't mind as long as it's a constructive comment. The trolling comments are always funny because I don't really care anymore. But I remember there was a time you could really take it to heart. Like it could be quite devastating. But then I've realized to write a good comment is a lot harder than to write a bad one. So if you get a load of good ones, then you're obviously doing a good job. And if you get a few bad ones, that's normal. Like, I think it's quite interesting. And the beer money, I mean, you don't have something like that, I don't think. Maybe you should do like some sort of Patreon. But I think that also motivates me, because I always feel to myself, if someone's paying and they don't have to, because they genuinely like the videos that I put out there, which is quite a bit of work, it makes you go, right, if they're willing to pay something, you know, it's not loads of money, but it's something that obviously people are finding they like enough to actually chip in some money. It's a good feeling. It makes you feel like motivated, because motivation when you're editing, if anyone's never done it, it's sometimes you've got to be inspired. And when you're not inspired, I see it with your videos, for example, when you're inspired, like you're a bit like me, but I've had to turn it into a more like machine-like thing where I try and put a video out every week. Whereas when I'm inspired, or I've had a bit of free time, or I've gone sailing for myself, my videos get better. So people might see the channel, like, for example, maybe you can relate to it. I know they're getting shitter, let's say, or that I haven't got the energy, and then I have like a good windsurf for like a couple of weeks, or I have a bit of time off and go sailing, do my own stuff. I come back and I'm like well motivated, inspired. I come up with different ideas and everything happening. So my channel sort of goes in waves all the way through. I don't know if you feel that.
Oh, definitely. Like it's, Yeah, I mean, you need the inspiration to create the content and like the motivation, because it is a fair bit of work, isn't it? Like I mean, you do way more work at it than I do. Like you're pumping videos out basically almost weekly. Like I'm amazed, like you and like Nico Prian and like I don't know, like there's a few. Like it's anyone that makes like high quality videos on a regular basis. Like hats off to them. Seriously, it's like it's a fair bit of work. It's you got to be dedicated, like it's pretty cool. But anyway, Matty Cleese just says, are you still living in the van? That's what the original question was. No, not at the moment. So anyone's been following my channel, you may have somehow gathered that like I've been traveling in a van. I made a few videos about that. The short story is I was living in Sydney 2.5 years ago. I decided to go sort of more nomadic, and I have a place in Sydney. I rent it out. Like I have an apartment there, and I found some tenants. And then through the tenants, I was obviously getting some income from the rent. I bought a van, decked it out. I made a video about that on my YouTube channel, how I did that, and loaded up the windsurfers and started and just basically went van lifing around Australia. It was basically at the start of COVID or around that time. And it was kind of interesting traveling around Australia in a van that time. Like because I had this idea of like, yeah, cool, I'm going in a van and going to meet heaps of people and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I did meet people, but I literally was sometimes driving in towns and parking places, and I was like the only one. Like it was like ghost towns. Like everyone was indoors. They were sort of told to be like locked inside, and I'd be like parked in a car park, literally by myself. And it was kind of cool. Like I was by myself heaps, like and I kind of had to just learn to like enjoy my own company. Like sometimes you can go a bit stir crazy, but it was an interesting experience. Anyway, went over to WA. I went to Geraldton. I thought, windsurf, I've got to go to Geraldton. I was all there last summer, which was also an interesting experience because there wasn't many people around. There was just a few locals. Drove back to over east in winter, and then I decided to come back to Geraldton again, back in Geraldton. And last summer and this summer, I've been renting a room in a house. So I haven't been in a van the whole time. I've been renting a room in a house in Geraldton, but other than that, I've been traveling in a van. In about a month, I'm leaving Geraldton, and then I'm heading back over east. I've got a few other sort of plans as well. Some of the plans, which is maybe of interest to some of the people here, is I've been asked by Simeon, the IWT, to film some of the IWT events for the drone. So we'll see if that comes off. Like he's actually asked me to do, well, at first he said, can you do all of them? But there's like 7 events, and that obviously costs a lot of money. And I don't particularly love traveling on a plane all the time. Like, I don't mind the odd trip. So we sort of had a chat about it, and then he's kind of offered to do Fiji, like Peru and maybe Hawaii. The only thing is for Fiji, they employ a local media. Also, like there's a media company there that's doing it. And in Fiji, you need a certain accreditation to fly a drone, which I don't have. So basically, he's putting the question out there to find out if they'll let me fly it. Basically, so the issue with Fiji as well is that, I mean, I'm not the only person that can fly a drone. There's lots of people that can fly a drone decent, but if they use the same people as they did last year, well then, like the drone footage might be pretty average. So we'll see what happens there. And then Hawaii, same story. You need a certain like accreditation to fly there, but they've got really good drone guys there. So that's not a big deal. But I think he still kind of wanted me there also use a bit of leverage through my YouTube channel, because that's the other thing too, isn't it? It's like, it's not just about getting the content, but where do these like the distribution channels, where the content goes? Yeah. I've got 10,000 plus subscribers. Okay, it's not millions, but it's very targeted. Like they're mostly windsurfers and quite a high percentage of wave sailors. So he's sort of thinking, well, if you can make a video and put it through there, there's another channel that you can, put your put our content through. 100%. Yeah. So
what you just said then is been the problem for a long time with the PWA. They get a good drone guy in there, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, take this guy to every event," and then every country has its own rules and own things, and you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a bit like, it is what it is. Like it's good in a way, because obviously they've got to control it a bit, but it's obviously silly. Like at a place like Cloudbreak, you're in the middle of the ocean. Like what are you going to hit apart from a windsurfer, basically, or a surfer? Yeah. So I would absolutely love to film cloud break. Like I've seen footage with drones, and like there's been some good stuff, but I know it can be done better. Like I look at it, I'm just like, oh, I'd love to film drone. I just could get some sick shots there, I reckon. The other one too, which I'll put it out. I'll mention it just because I'm kind of excited by it, but I'm certainly not holding my breath. But you mentioned the strapper video that you liked. And this is the other thing that I've found interesting through this YouTube channel is the opportunities you get through it. I don't get thousands of opportunities, like big opportunities, but one of the opportunities that came up was when the strapper video came out. Jason Pollokow on his Instagram put what do you call it, a post, and he said, "Oh, a friend sent me the strapper video. Yeah, should check it out." And he's like, he writes, and then he wrote, "Oh, Paul Van Bellen. I've never spoken to Jason Pollokow before, never met him or anything. He wouldn't know me from a bar of soap." And basically, he said, "Oh, Paul Van Bellen, if you're ever in Hawaii or Torquay in Victoria, we'll go for a sail or something like that." I'm like, fuck yeah, Jason Pollokow, like he's a legend,
Yeah.
And then I reached out to him. I said, "Oh, thanks for the shout out," and blah blah blah. And I couldn't help myself, so I sent him a voice message, and I said, "Oh, Jason, like you probably don't know, but like I have a YouTube channel, and I obviously, well, he knows now, but basically I do like drone videos, and like that's kind of my specialty." And I've watched a lot of your videos, and like you get some decent drone footage, but I reckon I could, I could maybe get some really good stuff. So like, if you're ever doing a trip, like you can ask me.
Yeah.
But so basically like that. And then he didn't, like I sent him this voice message, but he didn't listen to it. Like when you send someone a message on WhatsApp,
Yes.
and they don't look at it. So I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, it's Pollokow. Like he's probably fucking snowboarding somewhere. I don't know. Like he's busy, But so then like a month or so passed, and I was like, oh, he didn't listen to my message. So I thought, I'll send him another one. So then I sent him another one. I go, oh, Jace, did you get the message, mate? Like just like that. And then he got that, and then he sends me a message. He goes, oh yeah, Paul, give us a call. I was like, oh, okay, sick. So then I call him up on WhatsApp, and I have a chat with him for about 10, 15 minutes, which is awesome because, again, growing up in Australia, watching all the old Jason Pollokow videos, like I was stoked, eh? Like he's a legend. Like I don't know the guy personally, but what he did for windsurfing and stuff, he's like, it's so underrated. It's like he's an absolute legend. 100%. And anyway, so I basically like talking to him, and then I said, oh, look, you want a drone guy, blah, blah. And he goes, oh yeah, well, I might be doing a video. I don't know if I should be saying this, or whatever. I don't think it's a major top secret thing. But he goes, oh yeah, I might be doing a trip to Indo in June. I'm going to make another video. So give me a call in May, and I'll let you know if the forecast comes up or something like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, sick. So I don't know. Like I honestly will be surprised if it actually happens because we need a forecast. We need him to remember who I am. Like blah blah blah. There's obviously a few kind of question marks there, but that's.
I think he'll remember.
Oh well, you know what I mean. Like I've never met the guy. You need to sort of meet people sometimes for it to really sink in a bit, whatever. But the other thing with that is he wants to go in Indo in June, but this IWT event is in June in Fiji as well. Okay. So that's going to be an interesting one because I'd love to go to Cloudbreak, but I don't know. What would you choose? What are you going to choose? Filming Pollokow in Indo or Cloudbreak in Fiji?
That is as tough as it gets, isn't it? Jesus.
Yeah. But it is.
Getting in with Pollokow would be cool.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm like both of them are kind of a flip of the coin at the moment because the Fiji one, the accreditation thing, big question mark, and then the Pollokow. Well, who knows? They might not get a forecast or whatever. But I'll keep pestering him, and hopefully one day I can get him on film. Next question here, Martin. How would Paul compare Kanaha to Geraldine? I've never been to Maui. Have you been to Maui? Oh, you would have been to Maui, surely.
Yeah. Like Geraldton, like Coronation is I would say if you're into port tack jumping, you know, and a bit of riding with less consequence, because it's not very consequential. You can be, but it's not crazy. It's just an all-round fun spot. You can take anyone there. No shore break. It's just easy, progressive sailing.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
It's similar, but yeah. If you're just talking about the actual sailing, I think Jero's better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've actually heard. I met a couple here from. I met a couple here from Maui, and they moved to Geraldton, and they, they said that they preferred Geraldton, but like we don't have a keeper here. You know, like that's the big one, isn't it? Her keeper is pretty sick. It's pretty sick, but I think
well, you've got Nalu, but it's just an.
Oh well, sure, but I meant in town. I meant, but I think the thing they like about Geraldton is there's no crowds. Parking's like everything's kind of easy, isn't it? Like it's just you can just park anywhere, and it's pretty cool. Next question, Andrew Osborne says, "What's the best song for getting pumped to go out?" God, that's pretty personal, isn't it? Everyone's got their own taste in music.
Go on then.
What's the best song for getting pumped? Like I'm a bit different. Like my music tastes a bit like they're not mainstreamy. I've always had a really soft spot for electronic music. Like no, but like ever since I can remember. What's that?
Adam Lewis had his pump up tunes as Adele, the album.
Oh, okay, yeah. Or whatever floats
I can't imagine that being a pump up tune, but I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, no, it's funny, isn't it? Everyone's got their thing. But I don't know. I'll listen to anything. Like I like a lot of old stuff too. Like I like the 70s and 80s. I like whatever. Like it depends on your mood. Sometimes something a bit more sort of with beats, and other times just like I like kind of that sort of semi cheesy stuff. Like like Hall and Oates and stuff. Like all these kind of like. Just they're kind of like considered pop, but they're just I don't know, they're just those catchy kind of songs and stuff. I don't know.
But are we talking about the songs that you've put on your videos? You're obviously into those.
Oh well, yeah, but that's also just cool. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, like I don't know. Music's so funny because the problem with music is you put music on a video and 10 people watch it and maybe 2 people like the songs and the other 8 go, I hate this, I want this, I want that. It's but whatever. Like I just don't try not to worry about it too much. And also just not putting any music on videos is cool as well, isn't it? Because there's, sometimes the music can be tiring. It sort of wears people out a bit sometimes. Like they just want natural sounds. And
we have the same problem. Go on. No, I was just going to say that Alfie has got certain tracks that he plays, which I guess are old school now, but they're more rocky, kind of punky, not heavy metal. But,
yeah.
And again, everyone's got their own taste. So some people hate them, some people love them, some people, you always get the comment, "Oh, what's this shit?" But then you never win with music.
That's it. I think you just got to not kind of care too much. Actually, can I just add as well? You know how you said before about comments and how people will write sometimes negative comments. I actually love the negative comments because I mean, I don't get lots of them, but like when they do, I use it as an opportunity for comedy because it's like someone or like you just if someone writes a comment, you just use it as an opportunity to go, what can I make as a funny thing about this? Because it's always can be funny. At the end of the day, what are we complaining about? It's like they're whinging about a windsurfing video on YouTube. It's like out of all the things to be whinging about, it's so fucking mild. It's like you just go like, you can always think of something funny, right? And it just diffuses it.
It's true. Huh? It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah, like
there's always a funny angle on everything, I think.
There's always funny. Like I in Giroa, like I was filming, I remember one comment I made, which I still chuckle at. Like a guy wrote, "Oh, I hope you know all those guys because I'll be pissed off if it was a drone flying around my head," or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm filming all my mates windsurfing, but they don't know that. And obviously the easy thing to do is just go, "Oh, piss off, mate. You're bloody annoying." But rather than that, I wrote, "Oh, it hasn't been a problem because 2 of the people I hit are now dead." Like I just wrote that. But it's just,
yeah.
But you just make fun of it because it's just silly. Like you just go like, anyway, we live in a world where people like everyone's got an opinion and everyone wants to throw it out there, and it's cool. I mean, and the other thing too is if people are willing to write a comment, even if it's a negative one, I still appreciate the fact that they've made the effort. Like, you know what I mean? Like they've actually gone onto your video and taken the time to type something out, which most people don't do. So I kind of appreciate that, even if it's like negative. Well, you know what I mean?
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. If someone's actually bothered to go to a comment, reply, do something, you think it is quite nice. Like they obviously care whether it's negative.
Exactly.
Like you obviously feel passionate about what they're saying.
Exactly. And to be fair, some criticisms are fair. Like you might have done something pretty stupid, or like something that's you've got to be a bit look at that as well. What else? Actually, okay. Do you mind I'm going through these questions, Ben? Because I've sort of taken over.
You do what you want, man.
Oh, good. Oh, cool. Because Andrew Osborne, he says, does Tom Burlinson rip? And I've got a story about this. So one of the videos I made was this one at Coro's Coronation Beach with mashed up with the video from what's that movie? That cheesy old windsurf movie. That one from the 80s with Nicole Kidman and stuff.
Yeah.
God, why don't I remember? I should.
Isn't it behind
What's
you?
the name of it? No, it's not that. It's what the hell's the name of that movie?
You should know because it's been on your thing.
It's my bloody channel, isn't it? Hold on. It's called Wind Rider. Wind Rider.
Yeah.
And Tom Burlinson is the actor in that, right? So this movie came out in the 80s, and then it's got Nicole Kidman. It was Nicole Kidman's second movie after BMX Bandit. So Nicole Kidman's obviously a huge Hollywood star. So it's kind of funny that she was in a windsurf movie. Tom Burlinson was known as the man from Snowy River. That's a really famous Australian movie. So then he goes into a windsurf movie as well, right? So yeah, so I put that mashup together, and I had fun with it. And then I found Tom Burlinson online. He's now a singer on cruise liners, those type of cabaret guy. So he's got a website of himself. So I basically sent him an email and said, "Oh, look, I watched your movie Wind Rider and it's super cool. You're in it, and I've done this mashup, and anyway, I just thought I'd send it because you never know. You just send stuff. What's the harm?" And to my surprise, the man from Snowy River himself replies,
Really?
Tom Burlinson. Yeah. He replied, and he goes, I think I might have kept it somewhere, but he said, he goes, "Oh, thanks, Paul. Enjoyed that video. Windsurfing was a hell of a lot harder than horse riding." That's what he said, because he obviously had to learn to horse ride for the man for Snowy River, and then he had to learn to windsurf. I thought, how cool is that, man? The man from Snowy River,
that's classic,
isn't it? It's so cool. Yeah. So anyway, that was Tom Burlinson, Andrew. Who else have we got here? Cheers, Ben, Pat Redmond.
We got Rasmus online. What do you think of filming yourself by drone in follow mode? Does it work?
No, short answer, because the follow mode, the problem is the drone doesn't work well over water. It's the moving water, it sort of fucks up the tracking system on the drone. So it just freaks out basically. It can kind of work. If you're tracking a big boat or something like that, it'll probably work. But a windsurfer is quite small and it's moving and dynamic, and it doesn't work. I mean, someone could.
No, I was going to say, you'd think there would be some sort of thing you could attach, some sort of tracker, which it would have a direct link to.
Yeah. Oh, look, there are drones that do that. You wear a wrist guard and it tracks you and all this sort of stuff. And you could actually kind of do it even with the drones that I've got, but it's just, you end up with footage where the drone's flying pretty high. It's just following you from behind all the time, and you'll do it once and you'll be like, okay, I've done it. Now what? You know what I mean? It's not very interesting footage. It's so it's, the follow me, it's pretty, I find it pretty useless. I never ever use it for anything. I mean, plus it just, I don't, it's just too complicated. And then you got obstacles to avoid. I mean, it has like these obstacle avoidance on the drone, but you just don't want to leave it up to the drone to create a shot. Like you basically want to create the shot yourself. You know what I mean? And then you got kites, kites flying around, and kites are the worst for drones, like, because they're all flying, they just, obviously another reason why I love kites, but but that's that's just another thing. But so what do we got here? What's this, Paul? What's your favorite European spot? Sweden excluded. Well, I've hardly sailed anywhere in Europe. I did a trip with my friend Tim to the Canary Islands back in the early 2000s. So we went to Fuerteventura, and that was fun. But yeah, favorite spot in Europe. God, like, I don't know. I reckon a spot that looks fun is Denmark. Like that looks super fun. And what else? Oh, I've been to Tarifa in southern Spain, and we went, I don't know the name of the spot, but when you drive around from Tarifa a couple of hours, like towards the east, then you hit a few wave spots, and they were actually kind of fun. I was surprised, like these kind of cross-shore wave spots. It's like this bay. It's like
go on.
Oh, sorry. It's kind of this bay that horseshoes around.
Yeah, it's like there's Canos, which is a bit like that, and then there's Bologna.
Yeah, I don't think okay. This place is like a town, and like it was a bit like you had to. It had a bit of rocks, like to get down a little bit. There was kind of like a beach, I guess, but there was
it sounds like Canos.
Yeah, and like there's like a road that runs along there where the town is. Like the town is pretty much close to the water and everything. So yeah, that was actually, I had a good sail there that day. I was like cross shore, and I was like, this is pretty sick. Like, I don't know if I was just got lucky and it was a good day, but I remember thinking, oh, if I lived around here, I'd be happy. It was cool. But Europe, I don't know where else. I mean, there's lots of spots. Ireland, that place in Ireland where they had, it's an Ireland or Scotland, oh God, where they had the Red Bull event.
Yeah,
what's
Ireland.
That name? Yeah, what's the name of that place? Yeah, that looks sick. I mean, not during the Red Bull event. I wouldn't want to sail in those conditions, but like just on an average day, like on 20, 25 knot day, it looks sick.
It can be really nice. Majority is one of the really nice spots. Really good.
Yeah. No, really it looks really, really good. Just going through any other questions here. More compacts for each year. Blah blah blah. I don't know. Can you see any other comments? There's a few here. I'm getting through them.
Yeah, there was a lot. We got a bit parked up at one point.
Sorry if I missed you.
Someone wants an interview.
Yeah. Oh, Paul Dunn here. We want to do an interview with Paul for Boom Windsurfing channel. Come on, Paul, you're a rock star. Oh, that's very kind. Paul is one of my really good fans. Yeah, on a channel, you'll have a certain amount of people who are just like really keen fans, and he's one of them. He's always comments on the videos. I actually had a chat with him on the phone a few months ago, and he's super cool. He seems like really, really keen on windsurfing and everything. So thanks a lot. Actually, kind of also, I want to just express this too while I'm here. But one thing I think about with the YouTube channel is even though I haven't met a lot of these people, the way when I make a video, and this is maybe something for anyone else out there that consider doing it, but like when I have a subscriber or a viewer, I pretend as if I'm sort of presenting it to my friend or something, or like someone that's like, because I see a lot of channels where I'm like, the way they present, it's like, would you treat your friend like that? Like say, like videos where they're obviously just trying to sell you shit all the time. Like, oh, by the way, try fucking this and try. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You're trying to make some money and all that. But if you were in a room with, if I actually met my subscribers and they were in the room with me or chatting, and I just said, hey guys, guess what? You should try this. You get 10% off. And it's like, I try to be careful with all that stuff, because I'm like, these people are real people. I kind of trying to pretend that they are my friends, and I'm not going to like try to like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like try to be a bit more like careful with that sort of stuff.
Well, it's tricky. I was thinking, like, I watch so much YouTube videos, but the whole like and subscribe and the same
Oh, I know.
cliches
Exactly.
line,
Exactly.
you
I know.
start saying them, and you think every time I watch a YouTube video, I hear it and I don't hear it because I've heard it so many times. You've
Yeah.
got to do that stuff in a funny way or an interesting way, which actually your friends would find funny. If, like you say, you've got to talk to someone as if not just be the same shit every time. I do it like kind of funnily at some point, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but you kind of, I remember reading an article and said that when people in YouTube videos actually say hit like and subscribe, a lot more people end up hitting like and subscribe, obviously. You know what I mean? Like you're basically telling them what to do.
I think they did.
It worked. Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
think they do anymore. I think sometimes what makes me subscribe is if I say, what I think makes people subscribe is if you go, right, we're going to do this, this, and this. This is what actually we're going to have on the channel. So you may as well subscribe because then you won't miss it. Like not in that words, but that's what makes you subscribe is if you see some other stuff is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
No,
hard to say that even in a way now that makes it sound realistic because it just sounds like blah, 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 blah. I watch, like, as soon as I start talking about that sort of shit, my view count goes like this, just drops off.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's quite interesting when you look at the analytics of when people just go, shut up.
Yeah. It's also like the thing is too, like if you look at the biggest YouTube channel, like, the really big ones, they obviously are doing all sorts of things. They're selling, they're telling you to like, subscribe. They're doing all that stuff. And like, I'm completely small time, but for me personally, I lose in, like, I just try, it's like, I just try to pretend that my subscribers and the people viewing are kind of like as if they were my friend. And that's how I approach it because I actually do sometimes meet these people on the beach, like, like you would. And like, why would I treat them differently in person than I would through the video or something? Like, I'm not going to,
totally
yeah, like, it's like, that's, I don't know. It's just, I think it helps you build up an audience, and like people, and you get an audience that are actually quite loyal, like they're sort of loyal to you as well. Like it's cool. Like I actually had quite a few like companies that will message me and say, we've noticed you got, X amount of subscribers or it's targeted and we want you to sell this, something or whatever. But like, I kind of look at it and think, I don't know. I wouldn't, like, if my mate was here, I wouldn't probably recommend this product. Like, I just would like if it's a product that you actually really are into. Oh, really? Well, I get them sometimes, not often, but I'm just saying it happens. Like for example, let's say, like if it's obviously windsurf related and you go, this is a sick boom. Yeah, but you should try this boom out. Fair enough. But like, if I'm hanging out with mates, I'm not going, hey guys, you should try these aquarenic shoes. Like you get 10% off if you mention my name. I mean, people would look at you and go, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you know what I mean? But like you do.
You should do that.
No, but it's like, I can't do it. I just can't. It's just
like the Truman
Show.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I just, whenever I see it, I kind of switch off and I kind of don't like those channels. So I try not to do it, but yeah, anyway, look, each to their own. And like, I think it is hard because you've got to make some money, but, like the way you do it's good. You've got your windsurf sponsors. That's very targeted. And you
hang on. Speaking of which, Valka's got a question for you.
Valka, who's Valka?
I think he's having a go at me because I want witchcraft to.
Where? Oh, Valka. Sorry, I think you said Valka. I was saying that. Valka, Paul, do you charge any business when you feature them in your videos? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Do you charge any business when you feature them in your videos? I have never charged. Let me think about this. Have I ever charged? The only time I've made some money was recently at a Geraldine windsurf event. That was like a youth event, and they asked me to drone film.
Money? I can't believe it.
I know. Well, no, because I know. But the thing is like, I don't like, I've done heaps of stuff for people who've never charged anything. But like, this particular event, I had my dad visiting here. Like, you know, he was visiting Geraldine, and they said, "Oh, can you film for like a good portion of the day?" And I was like, "Well, I can. I charge $50 an hour." I mean, like I did it for, I think I worked for 6 hours and charged $250 in the end. But the thing is, when you fly a drone, if I crash it, no one's coming up to me and offering me a new one. Like I've got to,
that's fair enough.
if you crash it, and also, it's quite, I mean, it might be, think it's easy just sitting there filming a drone, but it's, you're in the sun, you're there in the elements, and like, it's,
it's also like, your business. I don't know what you do, but that's your business, isn't it? Like,
well, it's not really. No, it's not a business, because like my whole channel is a hobby. Like I don't, it's not monetized. I mean, I make $50 a month from YouTube, but I've literally have never really asked anyone for anything. And people like come up to me and will like, like I'll be at a way somewhere, and they'll come up to me and say, "Oh, Paul, I saw that you were filming me. Can I have the footage?" I'm like, "Yeah, here, cool. Have the footage." And they put it on their social media. I've given out so much footage for free. And then sometimes I think maybe I should just ask for something, because the problem is, when you give stuff out for free, I think people undervalue it as well. Like they kind of just think, well,
very, very, very true.
Yeah, like I've sort of, but I also am stoked about windsurfing, and I'm trying to get it out there. So I'm not really in it for the money or anything. But like it's almost like I've had it before, where some guys, I've been on a beach with a guy with the drone, and he's literally charging $150 an hour. And people will use him, and they won't ask me, even though I would have probably almost done it for free, like, kind of thing, because they just, there's this thing where they're like, well, if he's doing it for 150, there must be a reason why he's charging and you're not. Like maybe you're not, like these are people that might not know that I fly a drone or something very well, but you know what I mean? They kind of just assume that you're pretty shit at it because you're not charging or something. So it's kind of, it's tricky. Like,
yeah, I mean, and it also depends on what lots of different circumstances. If people want to advertise their business, if they want to do something, like I don't like to. It's difficult. I think in windsurfing it's very difficult because there's not much money in it, So and stuff costs money. Whether it's like for you, it's the price of the drone and the risk of crashing it. Plus, you have to upgrade it every few years.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Like you're driving there, you got your car, you got your petrol, you got this, you got that. Yeah. Like it's just everything.
The time, everything all adds up. It's the same with me. Like just doing this interview now. I'm only charging you a small amount of money. I mean, it's perfect.
You haven't told me how much it is yet, but. Just send me your bank details. I'll pass it on. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but look, it's just tricky, but it's there's definitely ways to monetize it, but at this point in time, what's that?
Leo's question.
Oh, hey man, where can I get a pair of those aqua shoes? Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you should say that, because I had a second email from them the other day, and the thing is, like, because the way it works is you get these emails from these companies, and they'll send you, they'll send you samples, and they want you to do a video on them, basically. Like, so they'll say, oh, look, we'll send you some shoes, and if you just you can make a video, and it doesn't have to be. And you just do whatever you want with them. Like, if I made a video where I got them and just burnt them in a fireplace, that, like, you know what I mean? Like, they just, like, but, and I mean, you could,
I always think they're scams. Do you not think they're scams? Like, I got one the other day for a waterproof walkie-talkie, and I'm like, I look at the email, and it's like, the name of the walkie-talkie at yahoo.com, and then all the links are to the website, and I'm like, that just seems suspicious to me. I'm just too suspicious.
Well, I'm sure there are weird. Oh, there's definitely scams, but once you've got like 10,000 plus subscribers, like businesses are looking for people to like you with your channel at 40,000 plus subscribers, you could easily get like some like companies that will just happily send you free stuff, like to do whatever.
The thing is, I don't know what you're on about, but have you seen this new GPS watch from? This guy was gonna do something with these windsurfing necklaces, and I was just thinking, imagine doing the channel, and you're like, just have you seen this? Some product placement.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's yeah. So Neil saying I'd totally pay you to film me trying stall forwards. That's the other thing is there's definitely a market for people like, like you rock up at a beach and you say, hey guys, like someone's on holiday and they want some shots of themselves, and you can, obviously just fly a drone. But the thing is, I windsurf too. So when I get down to the beach, I want to go windsurfing. That's the other thing. Like yeah, and like what it's like. I'm sure you find that too, don't you? Like you're trying to make a video, but you also want to go just not have to worry and just go windsurfing. So it's just trying to do that. So no, it's funny. Yeah, Benny. Yeah. So
all right, boys. I think our fridge has just turned up.
Oh yeah, you're in the middle of a renovation, right?
It's an absolute nightmare. Like, I do not recommend the Portuguese builders we have. I can tell you that much. We've had an absolute nightmare. Like, we have a bit of a renovation project because we obviously it's just been it's been a nightmare. Anyway, anyone who's ever doing a house, I now feel for you. I never understood how much stress it was before. We're not even trying to do anything special. Like, we're not even got high standards, but these guys are just beyond, absolutely beyond. So we'll see. Yeah. And it looks actually like there's a bit of wind outside. Maybe it's even...
yeah, cool. Is it what's the temperature like around where you live in wintertime? Is it get cold or?
It varies, but at the moment it's been pretty nice. Like it's if it says like 16 degrees on the forecast, it feels like 20 plus, because as soon as the sun goes in, it gets a bit chilly. But when the sun's out, it's decent. Hang on, I'm just going to end this podcast because I need to clear this up. Like, Balka, witchcraft. So he's obviously having a go at me a few times a year. He wants me to do a podcast with him, which is fair enough, because people should know about witchcraft. The problem I have with it, you say it's an unbiased. It's not. You're going to promote your boards and the construction and say everyone else is rubbish. But I got to give you the platform to say that on, and you don't want to support me with anything. So that's not unbiased. Paul is unbiased, although he has been promoting his aqua shoes, which I'm slightly disappointed about. And I want a bit of a cut of that.
So we need a boxing match between you and Balka.
Yeah, me and Balka.
Yeah, that'll be good. We'll pay for that.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll do it.
Can I just say one more thing
not
before
the
we leave?
Match, the podcast.
Oh yeah, the podcast. Yeah. I think that the thing is too, like if you get someone on and they're saying stuff like everything else is crap, but mine's the best and all that. I mean, people are smart enough to sort of see through us. I think it's just yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to get different opinions.
I tell you what, I've got a good idea. This solves all the problems. Balka can do a podcast with you.
Sure. Okay.
I think that's
a possibility. But you're the podcast guy. This is podcast central.
Actually, Matt Check's the podcast guy.
Oh yeah, well, Matt Check. Maybe Matt Check can do it. Yeah. Can I just say one thing? Talk about the podcast though before we go. Like get some of the other guys on, like other channels if you can. I know you said you've been trying Nico Preem, but there's also Niels. What's his surname? Niels, the German guy. I follow him. What's that? Yeah, him. And then there's oh god, I'm terrible with names. The K90 guy. Is he from Scotland or
Lucas.
UK? Lucas Meldrum. Lucas.
I think Lucas started doing the podcast first. He did a really good job.
I
don't like to listen to him when I'm at home. I like to listen to when I'm traveling, so I kind of store them up.
Yeah.
Even the Matt Check ones for when I'm traveling, because it's quite nice to listen to the podcast, I have to say.
Yeah, him. And then there's that Surfer Ziz guy from Germany, but he's really popular in Germany by the looks of it, because he does a lot of his videos in German. But yeah, like it might be cool even just one day to have like a podcast where you get like a bunch of the YouTuber guys all up there and they could sort of share some ideas and sort of how to promote the sport. Because
in an ideal world, we'd be in the same place where you could actually have them. You could have some proper connection. And what I want to do, and this is kind of what I want to do here in Portugal, is get this set up so it can actually get people here, go sailing and do some media stuff, and like almost invite people for like a week or 2 weeks and mash up loads of stuff. Like that's like a content creation week or 2 weeks or something like that. I think it could be really cool to have like-minded people who are interested in making videos, who also windsurf, and some riders. I think it could be like a cool, like almost an event sort of thing. And then you have a lot of videos to run through, which would be cool. That's the plan. Yeah. It's just taking a lot longer than I thought to get it sorted.
Yeah, and you can do clinics then. That's a good way to make some money for you. Yeah. That'd be super cool. Yeah. That'd be super cool.
It's just time. Like you realize, you know what it's like making videos. Like even just to send it Sunday every week and sorting the podcasts and stuff out, time just disappears, and then you're like, oh, I've got to get ahead. You know, trying to get ahead. That's been my nightmare, trying to get ahead.
But hats off to you, Ben, because as someone who edits, when I watch a video, obviously you have an appreciation for what goes into it and all the little details that you put in, like all the funny little graphics and like little funny things. They all take time. Like you just get like say you get a little graphic where like a little guy moves in and just moves out, or something. You think, oh, yeah, that's too like a split second, but sometimes you can spend 20 minutes trying to work that fucking shit out. It's like, how do I get the guy to do this and do that? And you can just spend hours on all this stupid stuff, can't you? It's like
that is it. Yeah. You know, the cannonball one. The Aussie guy. I had to frame by frame move that, cut that out to get that working.
Exactly.
And I'm not an editor. I'm like, I just YouTubing it and
that's it. That's it. No, all good. No, I really appreciate the platform and having me on. It's super cool.
No, but you as I said to you, you're welcome anytime, because I think like we mixed it around a bit today. Maybe I should have a bit more structure in my interviewing, but I think we could come on and talk about most topics, because like I said before, an opinion doesn't have to be everyone's opinion, but I think it's interesting to hear different opinions on certain things. I think it's really good.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, well, hopefully I'll catch you
and
again.
If you haven't followed Paul Van Bellen on YouTube, give him a follow. He's not on social media. So definitely follow him on YouTube. He doesn't spam loads of rubbish and posting all over the time. When he drops a video,
I will now.
It's a 99% hit rate.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Now, thanks, Benny. It's cool. No, thanks heaps, and keep up the good work, Benny. I'll let's speak. What'd you say?
I just want you to put aqua shoes in your next video.
The aqua shoe. I know.
You should please make a spoof video of selling some.
All right. No, so I've got to dig up that email and see if I could get him to send me a pair now. God damn it. The only thing is I'm really good at cleaning up my inbox and my email, so I just delete a lot of stuff. Hopefully I haven't deleted it, but anyway. So
find it, or at least go make up a company called Aqua Shoes.
Yeah, nah, it's all good. But yeah, but thumbs up to all the content creators too, because without people making content, windsurfing would be really just like no one would see, hardly anyone would see it, would they? You know, like it's you need the content, otherwise who's gonna, you know, it's a big part of the, you know, growing the sport, or at least keeping it relevant. So,
I totally agree. You need to keep those communities, windsurfing communities, and people see stuff happening around the world. I think it's really good for windsurfing. I think you have to see it, because there isn't loads of windsurfers anymore. There isn't everywhere. So it's nice to feel that it's still alive and things are happening. That's how I see it anyway.
Definitely.
Cool, dude.
Cool.
All right. Until I speak to you again, maybe we're getting back on for a podcast. Let's see.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. All right, man. Take care.